That's what I'm talking about. Welcome, everybody. Welcome as we continue here with day 2 of ArvCon. ArvCon 2020 continues, and we are moving on to the next one. It was crazy talk. Thank you so much for watching what was a super intense and really wonderful conclusion to the Adventures of Middle-earth Wilderland campaign. And now we continue as we move on to the amazing group of D&D with GOG Storm King's Thunder. Before I get started, I do want to thank everyone for being here and want to remind you all that this event is only basically almost at the halfway point, not quite, because tonight we have got a concert starting at 8 p.m. Eastern with Kilgore Trout, and then Chrono Wolf, and then Indy, and then at 10 p.m. Eastern, we have got the amazing community D&D crew, the Shadow crew of Shadowed Mage as your DM, along with Echo Alpha X5, along with Hoodie, and along with Rock God. This was Kilobyte's, of course, group that he used to play in. Then tomorrow we have got the marathon session of Curse of Strahd from 12 to 8 p.m. Eastern, and that is going to be, as I say, 12 to 8 p.m. Eastern with the Curse of Strahd Infinity Beyond crew. And then on Monday, our first ever overtime day for ArvCon, which is going to be starting at 3 p.m. Eastern with a one-shot of the City of Mist game, which you definitely are going to want to check out if you haven't seen it before, with Video Store Cowboy, and then wrapping up starting at 7 p.m. Eastern with Emberwind, and that will close out ArvCon. We have blown through our goal, and in fact, I'm going to pop up my webcam. Hey, everyone, how's everyone doing? We have blown through our goal. The original goal that we had for this was 2,000, and we blew through that this morning, or this afternoon, I should say, earlier on. We blew through that, so we are currently sitting at 2230. So we have set a new goal, and the new goal for us is 3,000. So if you haven't already done so, please consider jumping on board, and the way to do that is to type in !donate, and then once you've gone over and checked out what you want to do, once you've had a chance to contribute, then come back over here. It is based on the honor system. Come back over here, !donated space, and then the number that you donated, and then I will add that to the total. If you have something where you want to do this anonymously, that's totally cool. Then all you need to do is let me know through private message or on Discord. Either one of those is fine. I will see that, and then I will add that to the total. Just make sure that you do that. Again, probably whispering me here on Twitch is the best way to do it, or if not, then through Discord, so that you can do this. Yeah, exactly. !donated space and then the number. So if you can do that, then we can sort of add this to the total as we continue towards our next goal of 3,000. Now, with all that said, we have got a lot of this stuff that's been happening today, so it's been very exciting, and it is great to bring on the next crew, and as they do that, I'm going to make sure that I send out the next tweet to let everyone know that we're on to this next adventure. So let me move over to this. Let me unmute. Where are we? There we go. Let me unmute myself so they know that we're all ready to go, and then I'm going to unmute them, and then I'm going to slide over here. And I was feeling, did we lose? Oh, we did. Oh, we lost Screaming Joypad. Okay, well, I didn't know that. So everyone's window is going to be messed up for just a moment. So let me just reset all of this. Let's see. I will arrange this thusly. The way it works is that as soon as you arrange it, that's how things actually start working again. So this means I'll fix the windows, and that will summon Mike to come back so that I have to fix him again, because that's how it works. So while Mike is coming back to us, you will note that I have left the players somewhat happy about things, because they are head down in books, looking at their next level up. Because they have a new level up that they've got there. So they are trying right now to figure out what they want to do next, who they want to be when they grow up, as it were, since they have risen to the dizzying height of level 7, is what we're looking at right now. So that is what they are at, is level 7. There we go. We've got that. We're going to extend that out like, not that, but this way. And right. Okay, good. So now they're back the way they should be. Lovely. Okay, so as I make some adjustments, and forgive everyone as we make this transition over, I will say hi to the team, to the GOG stream team. And yes, it is strange. Normally you see them, of course, over on GOG, my other home here on Twitch, but not today. Today we are doing something a little different, because they are part of ArvCon, and they actually were part of ArvCon last year at least, and I think we're part of other have been a part of other ArvCons in the past.
This is where it all started.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. That's right. At the very beginning. That's right. That's crazy, man. How time goes, just nuts. Anyway, but I hope that you will be able to show your support for these wonderful players by contributing a whole hell of a lot to the Juvenile Diabetes Research Foundation while they are playing today to demonstrate the quality of DRM-free and hopefully someday diabetes-free world in front of us. You see what I did there? It's actually Diabetes Resource Management is what it stands for. So that's the idea, is to be free of that, and that's what we're really all about. So an anonymous user has gifted a tier 1 sub to Tasty Chai. Well, thank you, anonymous user, for doing that. And enjoy our awesome emotes and all that kind of good stuff, Chai. Thank you. But thank you to the anonymous user. Okay, and while we're waiting for Mike to come back on, I'm going to let the players introduce themselves and then go back right into the midst of doing what they're doing. But Pyron Jade has contributed $15 to the Juvenile Diabetes Research Foundation. Yay! Thank you so much, Pyron. All right. So we get this started right. That's what I'm talking about. Okay, we are up to 2245. That is awesome. Thank you very much for that. Also, thank you, of course, to our sponsor, GOG, which is, in fact, GOG.com is sponsoring this event with a bunch of game codes. So thank you to GOG.com. So it's appropriate that the GOG team is back with us, starting with, of course, the leader of the stream team, and that is Pyron Jade. Thank you so much, Pyron, for the contribution. And how are you otherwise? For those who may not have seen you before because they're new because of this event or whatever, do you want to tell them who you are and then who you're playing in this campaign?
Oh, well, hello, my name is Pyron Jade. I am the stream team coordinator over at the GOG Twitch channel. Have been a streamer there before, have been a moderator before that, and all of these wonderful people here are my friends, and I'm just really, really happy to be here tonight. I live in Germany. I play games. I spend far too much time on my computer, but I also have a lovely garden. I think that's most things that I can tell about myself. But tonight, I'm going to be Greta Goldenfire, Dwarven Cleric of Faltus. May his light shine on your way. Greta has been with this party since the beginning and feels very much that they're her second family apart from her cleric family. She is a very lawful, good character, which often gets into her way of doing things, and but she really, really tries her best. Yeah, so that's it.
That's her. Thank you, Pyron.
She also very often drops off things and is very afraid of falling to death one day.
Yes, that's also true. That those things exist. We'll see whether that happens or not. But I do want to, while you were talking, we actually got 2 more donations. First of all, Mrs. Dunsel with a $25 donation. Thank you so much, Mrs. Dunsel. And Classicor is here with a $20 donation. So welcome, Classicor. Thank you. I am very grateful. Thanks very much, Classicor. And thank you to Mrs. Dunsel. 2290 out of 3,000. So we're making serious progress again. Giveaways, by the way, are continuing to happen in the chat, being coordinated by my mods. And so, wait, what? You subscribed to me and I didn't notice? What do you mean? What do you mean? Where did you notice to me? Did you do that today, Troll, and I didn't see it? My thing didn't go off. I'm sorry, Troll. Thank you so much, Troll, for the sub, but I didn't realize it. I don't know why it didn't go off and didn't notice. Like minutes ago? I am sorry, Troll. Thank you very much for the subscription. I apologize. I don't know why it is that it didn't pop up, but I am coordinating like 60 million things at once, it feels like, so I must have just missed as I was going through. So sorry, sir. Twitch doesn't like you in Prime subs. Thank you for the sub, though. I like it, so I appreciate it. Thank you very much. And also, as Mike is coming back on board, there was something else that I wanted to mention that I noticed about stuff. I don't remember what it was though, but anyway. So yeah, so we're sitting at 22 now. Oh, I know what it was. Giveaways. So giveaways are going to be happening all the way through. And I do want to highlight, just as soon as I fix Windows again, I do want to highlight these giveaway things because I don't think this party has seen what we're giving away for the top donators. So I'm going to open this up. Bear with me just 1 second whilst I fix things.
Is it a pencil? Is it a pencil?
It's better than a pencil. It's a pen. Actually, several pens.
Sorry, I used the wrong word.
Different kinds of pens. No, I mean, listen. There's some people who prefer pencils as far as that goes. I'm not going to get into a holy war between coffee, tea, pencils, and pens. Okay, I'm not going to do that. I mean, listen. It's whatever people like. Okay. There.
Tea and pens.
Saber. I used to have the old Papermate erasable pens, which always kind of blew my mind at a certain point. It was like, how is it pen, but is also erasable?
It was really a pencil in disguise.
The pencil in disguise. Are there pixels to give away? I see what you did there, Poison. There are pixels and pens to be given away on Tuesdays, but today, simply pens. Pixels come free. Okay. The answer is milk. Coffee, tea have milk in great amounts. This is very true. Okay, everyone is now on board, and so we now have the whole crew. Okay, so I want to show them this, and then I will allow Darksaber and so on to introduce themselves, but I should just mention this quickly. The third top donator, which right now is Amal Elmatar at the $250 level. The third top donator is going to get two things. First of all, a selection of digital photographs done by RockGod. RockGod is the sort of channel photographer, I would say, is an amazing photographer, has done in the past these huge metal, these photos that were transferred onto metal that are extraordinary landscape. They're like, he's so good. And this year, because of the pandemic that you might have heard we're all dealing with, he wasn't able to do that, in fact. So he was able to do only the digital version of these, which are still beautiful and gorgeous, and you're definitely going to want that on your computer screen. So we're going to be getting that. What's up, Brockgod? Good to see you, man. We're going to be getting that, and you are going to be getting one of these custom-made pens that has the Adventures in Middle-earth crew that just got finished with their campaign on it, the AIME crew, which is on it. So they're going to get that very nice pen. I got one of these pens as well because I was like, hell yes, I want one of these pens. The top donators, which are currently tied, Carlos Hernandez did a $500 donation last night and is tied with Hillness, who also did a $500 donation. So I'm just going to let those titans battle it out. And we could have obviously someone who could, snipe both of them by ending up higher than either one. The top donator is going to get the top prize, the choice of these two, and the second donator will get the one that top donator doesn't choose. These two custom-made pens, literally custom-made. First, we have this pen, which, let's be clear, is metal AF, I think is fair to say, right? So we've got the skull, we've got the red eyes glowing. This is made out of shark vertebrae with resin that is in between all of the shark vertebrae. It is a screw pen. So you've got this, like the incredible design, and it's got weight to it, and like this is staring into the soul of the party. I mean, like it's got, let me tell you, it is no joke. So that is one of the pens. The other pen, which I think it was Terry Toon said we need to make sure that I get rid of before I break the mechanism, is this steampunk pen. So you can see you got the clocks, you got the gears going on. This is made out of 100-year-old bog wood, which has been like reshaped and fined. And this, you can see this little thing here. This is Nonstop's favorite. Pen goes out, pen goes in, pen goes out, pen goes in, pen goes out. So I could just do this forever. Anyway, these are the two pens that are going to go to the top donators. So these two pens, you will get your choice, top donator will, and the second donator will get the one that the top donator does not choose. So that's what we've got for the top donators. And yeah, so definitely that is what's going to happen. So I'm excited about it. And thank you. Also, thank you all so much. Exactly. In before Arv breaks the pen, playing with it for hours. I know. Help save me from myself, people. Mortara has donated $15 while I've been talking. Thank you so much, Mortara. We are up to, let's see, that's 2305. Thank you, Mortara. You can see all the GOG folks, by the way, are starting to come in also. Like all of these people are starting to jump in and like, oh, we have to do this. I love that. I love that. Like, there's a little mini competition going on among the campaigns about who can bring home the bacon the best here, like who, just a little one. And it might be a little hard after Esper Genesis last night brought in literally 1,750, but I have faith that, folks can make this happen. So thank you very much. In all seriousness, Tara, I really appreciate it. Again, this is being done in honor of Scott Grigg, Kilobyte, who did a guest stream for GOG, he was one of my main moderators and a good friend, who passed away at the age of 39 a couple of months ago from complications of diabetes. And this is someone who, type 1 juvenile diabetes, and this is someone who he felt like he was doing better. He was on dialysis, but he felt he was doing better. He was making progress, and then he passed away. And it's a reminder that even in a pandemic, other things are still going on. There's still, people who are passing away of terrible diseases and dealing with horrible experiences of poverty and other such things. And those things don't stop just because we're dealing with a global pandemic. And so I didn't honestly know what to set the goal for this year because of the economic disruption. And I have been just blown away at the fact that we're not even halfway through and we're already at 2305 and have blown through our first goal. So thank all of you who have made this possible. Thanks to all of the players who are sacrificing their time and energy. And yeah, just a lot of love. It's very heartening in a time of darkness to see these moments of light. So I'm very happy to see us bringing forward that moment of light. One such moment of light is Dark Saber. Okay, it doesn't quite. You know what I'm saying, okay? Like, it's his own kind of light, and that's Dark Saber 2K. It's always a pleasure, Saber. I bet you felt it was nice for a change not to have to do the dashboard. Like, for a change, poor Saber's just like,
my hands are confused.
Yeah, exactly. Like, wait, shouldn't I be doing things that Arv's not doing? But anyway, good to see you, my friend. How are you? How's life in the universe with you? And could you introduce yourself for those who may not know you, because this is a different event for them, and who you're playing today?
Absolutely. Life is going very, very well. I am Dark Saber 2K, for those of you who don't know me. I am a variety streamer. I'm just very passionate about games. I like all different types and have trouble sticking to one, as viewers on my channel will probably be quick to remind me. I have been streaming with the GOG stream team for 4 years now, over 4 years, and much like Pyron's character Greta, my character, Cell Sigmauer, has been here with the party since the start, which was at ArvCon, I think 3 years ago. I think was when this all started.
I believe it was 3 years ago. Also,
Yeah.
pause. Poison BL, $20 to the Juvenile Diabetes Research Foundation. Thank you, Poison. That money's poison. Poison. Right, sorry. Terrible joke. But anyway, thank you so much, Poison. I really appreciate it. Sorry, on you go, Dark Saber. So yeah, it was. I think you're right. 3 years ago. That's hard to believe. God, really? Is that possible? What is happening to time? God, good Lord. Anyway.
Yeah, I am Cell Sigmauer, who's a freshly level 8 halfling rogue.
Dang.
Who's chaotic good. Is, you know, interested in money and shiny things and anything that people might not be looking at, but is very much aware there is a bigger picture to things that are going on, even if sometimes his colleagues on the party get a little bit tunnel vision and focus on the immediate hazards or objectives. He's trying to keep in mind that there is a bigger picture, and if we all charge a giant dragon and get set on fire and melted, we might not be able to get there. So
Yes.
usually it's me trying to convince everybody else, no, we shouldn't be picking a fight right now.
Eyes on the prize. It's very true. And this is a situation that you're in where it's going to be, yeah, I can't wait. I cannot wait to see how they navigate this. It's going to be great.
That's always worrying when a DM says that.
It's just, I just can't wait for how much fun. I just can't wait to see them. All right. Anyway, but it's a pleasure to have Saber with us. Thank you, sir, as always. And you should all also be following Saber, who's a very gifted streamer and all that kind of good stuff, as I mentioned before. Also, a person that you should be following on the interwebs as he has moved into a tech development career, and is going to eventually become the new, Richard Branson, Bill Gates, but with considerably more ethical underpinnings. And that of course is Mike Smith. Mike, good to see you. Hopefully everything is settled up a little bit tech-wise on your end as we speak. And for those who don't know you, because again, there's some people here who may not have seen you before and other things. Who are you, and who are you playing today, sir?
Who are you? I ask myself that question quite a lot. I'm doing okay. My name is Mike Smith. Quick introduction. My name is Mike Smith. By day, I am a researcher for a software company. In my spare time, I make training content based on technology and architecture, software testing, software philosophy, ethics in AI and technology, etc., etc. And I used to be a member of the GOG stream team. I also hosted the GOG podcast as well, which was super fun. And every now and then I'll find an old photo on my hard drive of us all like clustered on a screen talking about video games with developers.
I remember it well.
And I throw that out on Twitter. Yeah, absolutely. Fun times, friend. Fun times. And it's interesting you should say, I work in the technology industry, considering I've just sat down at the computer and everything has decided to work against me. So I'm now
that's how you know you work in tech, right? You only know it works if it doesn't work, and then you...
Yeah, absolutely. So right now my camera is not moving from this position because I have the shantytownist setup I could possibly cobble together. I've got like 6 dongles just daisy chaining stuff together. I've got third-party power supply. Like anyone who I've ever spoken to in technology is just going to cringe when they look at this desk right now. Anyway, so character-wise, I am playing Urash, the half-orc barbarian and devout follower of Tempest, who hasn't been feeling himself recently because he's lost his favourite axe. Now, unfortunately, that axe also happened to be cursed. They didn't really care about that too much because it made fleshy bits fall off bad guys quicker. Now, he's kind of doesn't really care for the fight at the moment because he's not really got his weapon and he's feeling a bit forlorn, and he's essentially got, trauma fatigue. So he's been through quite a lot with the team, he's been through quite a lot with the party. He's nearly died a couple of times. Only one of those wasn't his fault. And yeah, it's weighing a little bit on him. And this whole situation, being surrounded by several giants and there potentially being a giant crab or a giant dragon on the horizon, he's not quite sure what to do at this point in time. But I'm excited to see how he'll react.
I am excited as well. Yeah, mechanically, it means that he has a -2 to hit at the moment, because of this lacking his axe, so to speak. And so we'll see how that actually works through. Also, Urash has recently reached level 8, and I'm wondering if there is any
Yes.
new stuff that you've got. Also, hit point total, where are you at with that?
Where am I at with that? So yes, as you said, I'm quite rightly just freshly level 8. I actually forgot that we were level 8 because I did that during the session on the GOG channel. I'm currently at 86 hit points, so I'm 86. I have 86 because I was max anyway, because I was kind of fine. And not a lot happens for anyone who's played a barbarian before. Not a massive amount happens at level 8. You can either take ability modifiers, so I could up something by 1 point, or up 2 things by 1 point, strength, constitution, dexterity, intelligence, that sort of thing. Or I could up one of them by 2 points. But I've already got like a constitution of 15 and a strength of 20, and there was a feat called Great Weapon Fighting that I took instead. So the feat system basically allows you to forego that ability modifier and just take a feat, which essentially means that whenever I'm using a weapon I'm proficient with, mechanically speaking, whenever I'm using a weapon I'm proficient with, and I either kill an enemy or I inflict a critical hit upon an enemy, I get a free attack.
Mm-hmm.
Basically. So I'm looking forward. Hopefully that will make an appearance at some point. Hopefully not in this room, but
I was going to say, hopefully in the next few minutes.
Yeah. Depends how
You see
diplomatic
what I
we
was
are.
saying? You see what I was saying?
They're all excited to use their stuff, and you're like,
Pushes Celsig forwards.
I mean, like, you're facing down 8 giants. I don't see what the problem is. I don't,
8 giants, a giant crab, and there's God knows what else in here as well.
A giant crab organ. Let's just be clear. So literally that you fight this thing, and every time it's just like do, like
it's basically like being beaten to death by Nightwish.
Yeah, it's like Johann Sebastian Bach is beating you soundly. Like, anyway, I am very excited to see how Mike handles things. Always a pleasure. Good to see how Urash manages things, and it's also a pleasure to see, as always, with us, Tasty Chai. And again, Chai, I would say for those who do not know who you are, because this is a new event, or new event for them. Do you want to explain who you are and who you are playing today?
Okay. Hi. I am Tasty Chai. I are a variety streamer. A lot of things have happened. I had a baby recently, and so it's been very difficult for me to actually stream. You probably will see her a little bit because I am on baby duty right now. Mm-hmm. So she is present. But I do love games. I've played games my whole life. And so this is just a bump in the road, right? So like once she's a little bit more self-contained, back to streaming, which I'm hoping will be soon because her naps have kind of leveled out, which is really exciting. So I might actually be able to stream at some point. Let's see. Yeah, so I don't really stream on my personal channel, but I always try to make D&D because I love it. And it is so much fun, especially with this lovely group of people. Okay, so I am playing River, a silver dragonborn who has the hermit backstory. So she's a little backwards. She doesn't know a lot, and what she does know is probably wrong. But she's sweet and innocent and loves to eat and happens to be a member of the Harpers. Somehow. Mm-hmm. So that's been interesting. And yeah, just basically is happy to be there, happy to tag along with the party, and I'm interested to see where today goes because we're talking to some very interesting people right now.
Indeed. I am looking forward to talking about those very people. Yeah, that's going to be good times, and we'll talk about that in just a minute with the summary as we go forward. Now, you also leveled up to level 8, so you're now 42 out of 42. Do you have any cool things that you want to highlight, that like stuff that happened at level 8 that you're like, at level 8 I have destroy giant ability, and that type of thing?
Oh, well, that would be nice if I did. No, I mostly just wanted to one up Celsig And so I got a greater invisibility because he
Damn it! Yeah, I forgot to mention because I hit level 8 and I took invisibility.
And you're like, that's cute. Here. You're like, God damn it. Like,
I am curious what the difference is because I can turn a thing invisible for an hour when I touch it, including myself.
mm-hmm. What does greater invisibility do?
Greater invisibility actually sounds less good.
No, it's not.
So, like, what happened there?
Oh,
Greater
it's
invisibility is you or a creature you touch becomes invisible until the spell ends, which is concentration up to a minute.
Mm-hmm.
And anything the target is wearing or carrying is also invisible, as long as it is attached to said person.
Yes.
That sounds exactly the same as mine.
Nope. Here's the
Wait,
big
does Celtic have to strip down for his invisibility?
Yeah, exactly right. No, here's the big difference. As you'll note in the description of the spell, if you attack something while invisible, you become uninvisible. If you attack something while you're greater invisible, you stay invisible. And that's a big deal.
That is a big deal.
Yeah.
Use your mean all the fights for the sneak attack
That's what I was
damage.
thinking. That would be so good.
Definitely.
Yeah, basically you're just like, I am the dragonborn that roars in the night. Yeah, like that. The great, and it's funny too because I've heard other people say they're like, what makes this so much greater? And then I say that they're like, oh, like that is a lot
exactly.
better.
I can see why the rogue
name checks
doesn't
out,
get
yeah.
that.
Yeah,
Can you
exactly.
imagine a rogue having access to that spell?
I actually
Hello,
have
I
this-
broke your campaign.
Well, right. I have this image actually of you being like, oh, look, I learned this awesome new thing. And River being like, oh, wow, yeah, I could do something like that. And you're like, oh, well, it's the same as mine. You're like, yeah, check it out. And then you just like start like attacking, like you like hit a couple of creatures or whatever. And Celtic's like, wait, why are you still invisible? What is this garbage? Like, you don't have to, like, this is some garbage.
We just
Dragonborn.
River just turns herself invisible, and we never see her again.
I'm going back to my tutor and demanding a refund.
But like food just vanishes around you, like pie disappears.
The occasional ice storm appears, you know, so someone gets clonked on the head with a quarterstaff, a dagger in the throat, that sort of thing. But River's never around.
Oh my gosh. That'd be pretty funny. Hey, Mike, one thing to know is that you're peaking really badly also on the gain. You may not be able to do anything about that, but I'm just letting
Oh, my
you know.
days. Right, I'll see what I can do.
Okay, yeah, don't break your system to do it, but I'm just letting you know.
Okay, I'll try not to breathe on it then.
But otherwise, okay, so we've got that for level 8. And so, Greta, what else? So we got that for River. We talked about Oresh. We talked about Celsig. I think we talked about what you get at level 8, right? Celsig, or no? Did we talk about what you...
That was pretty much it. I mean, I did get ability improvement as well, so I upped my dex by 2 to give me an extra +1 on dexterity-based checks.
What are your dexterity now? What is your dexterity?
I am 18 with a modifier of +4 now.
Sweet. Okay. Yeah. So Greta, I don't think we talked about what you get at level 8. What do you get at level 8 besides hit point improvements, etc.?
I can now add my wisdom spellcasting modifier to any cantrip damage that I do. Why do you make me say these difficult words? This is not good. I also got a new spell, which is Revivify, and I can now destroy undead. Because why not?
Yeah, exactly. You just look at them and you're like, blah. So, unfortunately, you're surrounded by very living giants at the moment. But, you know, down the line, that'll
kill them. Greta could revivify them and then kill them again.
If my god decides to bestow this wonderful destroy undead thing on me, I will not oppose that.
Agreed.
In any way.
You should definitely not, exactly, you should definitely not look, as they say, look a gift horse in the mouth, or in this case, a gift god. I don't know, something. I'm not sure.
So I looked up whether I even have cantrips that do any damage, and I do have one, so yes.
Okay, so it makes a big difference. But I mean, again, level 8. Again, I just want to point out for folks that it is getting up into this sort of heady, you know, numbers when you start getting up to level 8, where there's some like serious stuff that can definitely happen as a consequence of this. So, all right, let's do that. Let's do, what is this? No, we don't want that. No, definitely not. We want this. There we go. Lovely. Okay. So let's do it, folks. Let's talk about this. And don't forget, as we're starting this, folks, we are doing this all to benefit the Juvenile Diabetes Research Foundation. So please type in ! donate. Please go over and support our cause. We are up to $23.25. Let us show them the meaning of DRM-free, GOG people that are over watching this channel. And thank you all for being here. We got a good turnout, so let's make it happen. In our last session, the party, which has been hard on the trail of tracking down the problem with the giants and why the giants have begun to rise up and attack villages, towns, and basically pose a threat to the Sword Coast in a way that they had not been in the past. Discovered over the course of their long adventure that part of the reason this is happening is because the Ordning, which is basically the giant's social structure, has broken apart. And Hecaton, the king, who is a storm giant, has gone missing. And so the party had to figure out why he went missing and what exactly they could do about it. To get to find Hecaton, or specifically to find the castle and speak to the people who are currently in charge of the giants, they had to find a conch of teleportation. But as you might expect, the giants were not just going to give one to them, they had to take it. And so the party ended up going to the fortress of Duke Zalto, a fire giant. While there, they discovered that the fire giants are working on some massive colossus type thing, which is a little bit disturbing, quite frankly, to the party. But also the party managed to, with a little bit of luck and a whole lot of daring, managed to find and open a chest, which might have shot out a poison cloud or an incendiary cloud that did damage. That might have been the case. But then managed to escape, finding a conch of teleportation, and escape, in quotes, to this place, this fortress that is underneath the sea, which has been described to them as the Fortress of the Giants. It is called Maelstrom. From the way that it's been described to them, this fortress is thousands and thousands of meters underneath the sea. The only way you can reach it is either by swimming under the sea, and for those of you keeping a score at home, thousands of meters is thousands of meters more than any of these people could survive. Even someone like Urash could survive by traveling underwater. Maybe Little Chai could survive it, but I don't know whether she'd make it the whole way. I'm not sure if that would be the case. But in any case, so the party came by basically the only legitimate way that they could, and that was the conch of teleportation, which teleported them to the bottom room. And actually, do I have it here? Oh, I might have been back here. Teleported them to... Yeah, there we go. Teleported them to here, where there was this kind of rune on the floor. They went and they explored a couple of the other rooms in the area, some of which looked to be humanoid size, not giant size, which seemed odd. Celsic had an unfortunate encounter with a sudden burst of steam that was shooting out of this one area. But there was this music, this organ and singing coming from upstairs. And so they climbed the spiral staircase to find themselves in this room. Nope, not in the same room I just put us in, Arv. To find us in this room, where they found themselves confronted by several very strange things. They found here two storm giant guards that are flanking what looks like an enormous crab organ. Literally, there are these coral sort of polyps out of the top of it, and that as you would play, in quotes, different parts of it, it would make these strange, unearthly sounds. And playing it were two storm giants that the party later on found out were related to their mission, because they happened to be the two sisters, two of the daughters of the three daughters of Hecaton, the missing king. One of them identified themselves as Nerissa, and the other one, sorry, not Nerissa, I beg your pardon, identified themselves as, show me the names, there we go, Mirren, and Nim was the other one. Nim was playing the organ, Mirren was singing, sort of, if you can call it that. Very operatic, let's just say that. And they were also in the middle of a room with what looked like giants from all different races. If the party had to guess, probably maybe ambassadors. So there was a cloud giant, there's a frost giant, there is a fire giant, and a stone giant, all of which are standing in this room when the party entered it. And when the party entered, they basically said that they wanted to have an audience with the current leader of the giants, Hecaton's youngest daughter named Sarissa. Mirren said, well, she's extremely busy and, we'll talk to her about getting you an audience, but now accompany these nice two giant guards down to your quarters while we figure out what to do next. And so the party agreed to this, and having nodded and agreed, they went down the stairs accompanied by these two guards, and that is where we brought things to an end. And so... as I hand things back over to the party, I'm going to bring us back down here to level 1. I'm going to bring us back down here, and I'm going to have those two guards. Wait a second. Let me go get the guards. Come back here, guards. I need you, guard. There we go. and the 2 guards accompany you back to your quarters. So, as they bring you back to this place, let me just make them this one. The guest quarters, area 3. That's what I thought. So, here are the 2 of the Storm Giant guards, and they escort you basically back to. I'll just bring you here, and then I won't use any of you anymore against your wills. To your guest quarters. And as they sort of look in at you as the door is open, and then they look in at you, and one of the guards says, by order of Miram, you will stay here. Your needs will be looked to. Please do not attempt to depart this spot. And then nods, bows, and departs. And as the Storm Giant departs, I'm going to hand things back over to the party. What would you like to do?
Well, we're not dead, so that's good.
First of all, I would like to point out to the audience that off stream we actually try to prepare for the audience, so like looking at our nose and bringing all the information together so that we can give like a full account of the Storm Giant. And then we had a little drift in our conversation, and we ended on the point that Ariel is a horrible movie. And so that's
Little Mermaid.
Yeah. Little Mermaid's a terrible movie. Yeah.
Yeah, Little Mermaid. Yeah, that's a terrible movie. So that's where our preparation went. I just wanted to let everyone know.
It definitely took
Say
a
hello to
diversion.
the people.
Yeah.
So we got a baby. Mike attempts to up the ante by being like, all right, here's a cat.
He likes to sit on me when I'm working, so he thinks I'm working at the minute.
Well, you are. You're working on trying to figure out
That's
how to
true.
survive.
I actually have a baby and a cat. Just saying.
What is it with you? One-upping people
At
tonight.
the same time. Okay. All right. So
Likes to show off.
Well, I have 2
Just
kids
be right back,
and
finding
2
a baby, a
cats.
cat, and a dog.
Yeah.
I used
We're
to have
saying
a
we
dog
could
who
have them in
sadly
the
passed
same
away, and I have 2
frame.
kids.
The other
all right?
cat's up there. So I have that cat, but then there's that cat next to the baby.
I have 2 kids and my mother-in-law lives with us. What's up now? That's right.
Ooh.
Ooh, burn.
Boy, you have no idea. It sure is. Okay. Anyhow.
So I will sit down and figure out whether the bed is comfortable. I'm happy to have interrupted your food with this important question about comfort.
It's the first granola
What are
bar
you
that
doing?
bite that I had. It is very comfortable. It is very comfortable, and in fact, again, this feels sort of deluxe, like it's made for this reason. But it's strange to you because, of course, this is a fortress for giants, not for humans. So why do they have a room that's set up for humans? But nonetheless, they do.
I am actually enjoying this bed. I feel like we have arrived. We are now here. We're gonna inform Sarissa, and things are going to be alright. And you know what? I think these are guest quarters. We are not in prison. We're not running away. We're not camping outside or anything. We are in comfortable guest quarters. And
We're
it's
just
wonderful.
explicitly told not to leave. That's pretty much imprisoned.
No, they don't want us to leave in case they serve us dinner.
Yes.
I'm worried about them
Yeah, all
serving
that
us
dinner.
for dinner.
I don't think we'd be
Sure.
very tasty. You especially.
I'm pretty sure that
Well,
guests
I dunno.
usually don't wander around a high security castle or anything, especially after their leader has disappeared, you know?
That is literally what we have been doing for the last year.
But still, it's... Oh, come on, people. This is going to end well now. We will inform Sarissa. We will tell her that we were sent by the Eye of the All-Father.
Yes.
And that we have been traveling with Harshnag and the guy with the flying tower whose name I cannot pronounce.
Zephyros.
Sephiroth.
It just reminds me of what Great Uncle Nobby said. He said, "What's the worst that could happen in regards to smoking a pipe in the privy?" Just before the explosion.
I don't smoke. It's going to be fine.
Your uncle's a strange man. I think I've heard 4 different accounts of how he died.
You've heard of him?
No, he only said before.
Yeah, from you in this campaign.
Ah.
He did die all those ways.
Yeah.
He didn't say he died of
We
it.
have a lot of uncles. Halflings have big families.
Well, that's yeah.
Also, they're not very imaginative.
So,
Yeah.
yeah,
It's- You come from a settlement of like 14,000 families, but only 6 names.
Yeah, it's a miracle I'm not called
Bob,
Bobby.
my other Uncle Bob, my other Uncle
Yeah.
Bob, my other Uncle Bob.
Still, I
Bob,
think
Bob,
we
Nobby,
should
Dave,
be-
and Celtic. There you go. That's the entire family tree.
We should be good guests. We should enjoy this. I'm also now feeling better about all of you taking the food that was down here, because apparently it was meant for guests, so it's okay that we ate it. So that is also good now.
I'm not feeling great about anything right now. I gotta admit, all of this
I'm a
stinks. We
little
need to make sure we don't get killed.
concerned that there was a meeting with the bad daughter.
But like all
Well,
the giants heard us.
they're both bad, aren't they?
We did like well they were we kn- with the Eye of the Allfather told us that they
Yeah.
were like betrayed or something
Well,
by
misled, yeah.
Limrith.
Yeah.
In my
Limrith or
experience, there's two types of people who can be misled: those who are deceived, and those who want it to be true.
That's yeah. There is that.
Anyway, we made ourselves be known just in front of all the giants. So I think we should be reasonably safe because like we did the right thing. We asked for an audience. All of them saw us. I don't think they can get out of this so easily.
No,
Oh,
that's true.
God, it's
And
going to be like
that,
the Yak Village again.
that means Sarissa must be here somewhere, right? I mean, Sarissa's the one we want to talk to. I can't believe I'm saying this. The last thing we probably want to do at this point is start a brawl in the middle of a giant fortress. You know, we need to like get Sarissa on our side. We need to give her the information that we've got. So the last thing we want her to
no
walk in
idea how
on.
long I've been wanting to hear you say that.
Well, the last thing we want her to, I know it's weird, right? The last thing we want her to walk in on, because she wasn't there in the room, is all she sees if we start a fight is some small folk have just invaded Maelstrom and started knifing people. Like that's the last thing we want her to see. We should be playing dumb messengers essentially. Like Greg said, yep. We went to the Oracle of the Allfather. We went to the Eye of the Allfather. We spoke to the Mystic Oracle, or whatever its name was. We got this information, and now this is our quest to give this information to Sarissa.
Do
Once
we know how they're
get
going
to
to
Sarissa-
feel about us seeing the Oracle? Like, maybe
Well-
we've actually committed like heresy and might
Well-
get burnt.
In the conversation that never happened because it was out of this stream between Greta and Urash, Harshnag seemed pretty cool about it.
Yeah.
Like he wasn't like, oh, this is blasphemy. He's like,
No,
that's
Harshnag seemed to
okay.
be fine with this. But Sephiroth, on the other hand, he was like,
Close enough.
we need to improve relations with the small people and all of this. So I guess there is some kind of mistrust between the giants and
And then there was the
rest
Duke's
of creature
place,
kind.
which had just enslaved all the small people. I feel like we need some sort of chart to figure out these giants' motivations.
Yeah, it's like putting different giants in the
Fire
alignment
giant,
chart.
slaves, bad.
Fire giant, pros. are on
Sephiroth,
fire.
flying castle, good.
Yep. Cloud giants, pros can fly, can enchant castles. Minuses, their lairs are really hard to reach, and they're rather tall. Fire giants, pros, good with machinery, lovely warm environment in their home. Cons, prone to a bit of slavery. I think that's a pretty big con, I got to admit. Who else have we?
And skinning dragons. They skin dragons.
Oh,
as well.
yeah, skinning
Yeah.
dragons, absolutely. Skinning dragons, generally just being horrible people.
Is that a pro or a con?
Throwing dwarfs into... I'd probably not get into that conversation at this point.
Ixnay on
He
the
says-
Iveray.
he says just stuffing his chimera scales back in his pocket, hoping that River doesn't think it's some sort of distant relation. But it's fine. Who else have we? Yeah, I mean, fire giants just seem a bit horrible in
Over the
general.
top.
Yeah, they are a bit. They're trying a bit hard, really, just to be that
just
evil.
The dicks.
edgy.
You know? Yeah. I didn't know how blue we could go on this channel. I gotta admit.
You know, when appropriate.
Right. So, you know, I mean, not only.
I think I'm putting it mildly for slavers.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's fair to say, you know, every time. I mean, they are very much of the one-upmanship school that River is a member of. Anything bad guys need to do, they need to just go that little bit further. You know, oh, these bad guys are gonna enslave people. these bad guys are going to put them in cages and let their hellhounds rip them to pieces. It's just not needed, you know? Invisibility, greater invisibility. You're both invisible.
I am.
Leave it at
That's
that.
a very weird compliment, but I like it.
Mine's better.
Thanks.
Mine's better.
I've stirred that pot. I'm going to go back to my drink.
So,
You're not going to pick a brawl. You're just going to cause one.
I'll pick a brawl with the giants. I'm going to pick a brawl with you.
just be
Who wants an
real.
arm wrestle?
Love how we've been needing to decide what we're doing, and we've done exactly none of that.
Seriously, we just should be good guests at this point, and I'm now worried after Urash pointed out that Sarissa was not in the room with all the other giants, that maybe she also got disappeared, or maybe she is really busy and everything like this was really... We just now have to wait. We're gonna enjoy our comfy beds and get some nice food that we're allowed to take, and just wait it out and relax and rest and clean our scorched clothes or whatever, and just wait.
Yes, I agree.
I agree.
I think if we can, when we speak of the Allfather and Sarissa to the giants, we probably want to make sure, this is going to sound bonkers, I know, and I may have been hit in the head one too many times, we probably want to make sure that there's as many giants there as possible. Because if this is a politically charged situation, again, I've probably been hit in the head a few too many times with this conversation, then we don't just want Nim and Mirren, whatever their names are, Thingy and What's-Her-Face, which is literally what I called them in on. Which is literally what I called them in on.
Mirren is the older one, Nim's the younger one. Although not as young as
I
the
called
others.
them, I think it's Mirren and What's-Her-Face in our notes the other day.
Don't do that.
Helen Mirren.
Yeah, almost. So, yeah, we don't just want to approach those two. Because if they are being misled, and like Helsing said, if they want to be misled or are mistakenly misled, if there's that evil there, and we go, oh, hey, we know a big secret, this, Imrith is actually, well, could potentially be a dragon, and they're leading you astray, they could go, yeah, we know, squish.
Imrith
Whereas
is
if
not
we do it in a room
potentially
full of
dragon.
people... Sorry?
Imrith is not potentially a dragon. Imrith is like a big blue dragon. It tried to eat Harshnag.
Yes.
It's not like it was really. If it would be carrying a sign "I'm a dragon," it could not have been more a dragon than it already was.
That is true, and they have been misled by Imrith. So
Yes. Whatever.
My guess
I
is-
By the way,
think they don't know what's happened to Hecaton.
I am
Because if they
inclined
had
to agree
proof-
with you.
So Hecaton is, what was he, the king of all the giants? Was that his
the
official
still-
title?
Yeah, I think
Yes.
so.
So I don't know how giant monarchies work. I don't know if it's hereditary or elective, but I imagine in the case of him missing, there would probably have to be some sort of consensus over who should take over, which
Sarissa
may be
is-
what's going on.
I'm guessing it was his wish that Sarissa took over, right?
yeah.
And like
But what
there'll be
happened
like
to-
a
Hence,
royal
did he leave it
decree.
in a note? Was the ink on the note still wet when he went missing?
A fair point.
I have a very faint memory of somebody telling us something about what happened to Hecaton's wife, but I don't really remember. Does anybody remember?
A really good point. Where is Hecaton's wife at this point?
Somebody told us. I remember that we were told, but I don't remember what we were told.
No, I can't remember either. I can't remember if she's missing. I remember it's
She's not. I know she's not available in
Oh,
some way,
what's
but I
her
don't know
name?
what. I don't know her name or anything. I just know that we were told something about her.
I want to say Marissa, but I don't think it's that.
Nah, I don't know. I seriously don't know. But yeah,
No.
it's okay.
Yeah, that's a really
Let's-
good question.
So let's pray.
Her name was Neri,
Rest.
by the way, in case you're...
Neri.
Thank you.
There was something.
We've remembered.
We heard something about somebody called Neri, didn't we? I'm so
Uh,
sure we did.
Well, there's the one thing to note. The only other bit of information you had about Neri is that when Queen Neri basically was found on this small. Neri was well known for being kind of pro small folk, and then was found the corpse of Queen Neri was found on an island frequented by humans. So Hecaton kind of flipped out about it. So you know that that there was some problems that.
Oh,
Hecaton
I don't remember
had.
that at all.
But the thing that I want to note was this is stuff that you had been told before. The Neri made that one point about Neri. The other thing about Neri is that you know that supposedly the Oracle, I believe, mentioned this to you, that Sarissa, the youngest, was indeed the one that the Hecaton chose, and was herself supposedly not totally anti-smallfolk, is the way I would describe that. So that's all you know about the rest of it.
Okay,
I
cool.
don't think we knew about Queen Neri's death.
Well, we do now.
Yeah.
No, I'm pretty sure that there was, if not, it was information that would have been, that you would have gotten from various places. That was stuff that was more or less.
If we'd
giant
asked the right
public
questions.
No, there was giant public knowledge for that. I mean, but again, you don't know any details about who actually killed her or any of that. So.
Okay.
So, yeah. I'm gonna clean my stuff, I'm gonna pray and make myself comfortable and wait like a good guest that I am. I'm gonna
stick my head out the door.
I make sure that my weapons are very sharp.
Oh wait, aren't these the really tall doors that I actually can't open by myself because I'm like 10 feet too short?
No, these doors you're going to be able to open because these are basically sized for you folks, so you should be able to do that.
Okay, I'll stick my head outside.
Okay. All right, just give me 1 second. I'm getting
literally just looking around the door, not making, just like.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry. Give me 1 second. Talk amongst yourselves. I just have to respond to my wife is asking me about dinner.
Okay.
Well, what are you having?
That's a good question. That's exactly.
I think that's what is being asked.
She's like,
Yeah.
What do you want to do?
With Sarissa liking small folk and everything, I feel that things are finally going our way.
It's an interesting view, considering we were just surrounded by lots of giants that
It's
potentially might hail us.
definitely an opinion.
Yeah. I think we just need to get in front of Sarissa, and I think we need to do it without killing anyone. I mean, how that happens,
I just don't
Tempest only knows.
I don't think they're going to take kindly to. Don't worry, we're trying to make sure you don't have to rule all the giants. That sort of thing doesn't go over well.
I have an idea.
Okay.
Those don't come very often, so let's go with it. Okay.
Go for it.
So, what if we make the ranger invisible? He can look around because that's what rangers do. They look at things.
Wait,
They
you made things
spot-
invisible?
I can.
Wait, when did you guys learn to do this?
That
That would have been really useful.
Well,
That
I
would
just
have been really useful in
Recently. It
Iron
was
Slide.
very weird. I was just walking around and suddenly invisible. That's what happened.
It's the
I'm
worst
not very
origin
good at
story
being
ever.
unseen, so I just extrapolated on that and found out I could actually be unseen.
And
I was gonna say,
I'm
so
now back with you,
because-
Celsig. So if you want to look out the door, you can do that.
Excellent. I just open the door, stick my head out.
I
No,
was gonna sell
no
the
sign of
foreign
guards
sword.
or anything. The guards that brought you down here were gone.
Yeah. I'll stick my head back in the door then. Well, there's no guards.
See?
Yes, but we should.
Unless they're invisible, I glare at Sir River.
Oh, I didn't.
And you don't see her. Like, God, son of a. Just kidding.
No, so. We send the ranger out to find the lady. With Sarissa. And then if he finds the lady, he comes back.
How long can you
I'm
be
not
invisible?
sure it'll work. I mean, there was no way they could have seen me earlier. And yet, as soon as I stuck my head around the door, someone who wasn't even looking at me looked up straight at me. They knew I was there.
Do you need a bath?
I resent that.
Really? Given
That's
some
a
of
good
the
reason.
given some of the things you've fallen into.
Well, I need
I
a bath.
fell into one toilet once a
And
year
it's
ago.
still- and we can still smell it in our sleep. We can still find our camp in the dark in the middle of the night. Okay.
I've bathed since then.
Okay, rain
inside
is
you, man.
not bathing. Those are different things.
Didn't he dive into that pool last time?
Create water is not a bat, okay?
No, yeah.
He did though. You're right. He did.
I'm not feeling terribly motivated to be cooperative with your plan at the moment.
Aw,
I do
okay.
wonder now. You know, I could heat up that pool, but we could have like a whirlpool party until we wait.
Oh my gosh, we should have a party. Yes.
Well, I am down for some R&R right now. We got nothing else to do right now, so that's it.
Celtic's thinking of the geyser that geyser. I'm sure the pronunciation that we found, because it didn't terminate in the ceiling, didn't it? It looked like it opened out at the top of where it squirted up.
Right. That's right. So yeah, that's correct. Also, and let me just double check the map quickly. I should note, by the way, Celsig, you're right that when you entered the room, they were immediately aware of you. There were passages leading out of that larger room, so you know. And you've got, of course, the water down below, although I don't know, how likely it is you'll be able to go to other places, but it is possible you could also dive down and search around down there if you could figure out the whole breathing thing.
Yeah, how to open the portcullis was our problem.
Yeah, Uresh went down and had a look, and
Uresh,
it's
I'm
blocked
sorry.
off.
Yeah,
We couldn't open the portcullis, that was the problem.
that's right.
Okay, maybe let's look for, just in case we need an escape route, let's look at the walls for maybe something to open the portcullis. Upstairs, not in the pool, like around the pool. Like here.
Well, I could also make someone breathe underwater if they wanted to.
That would also be very useful.
I don't understand how you people can just learn this stuff. Like, I don't get it.
I have to admit, since a few minutes ago, I feel like I could get really, really angry at undead people, but I don't know why. So, it's a thing.
I just feel slightly healthier. That's all I feel. That's it.
All those squats working for you, huh?
Yeah, absolutely. I've been working my squat muscles. That's what I've been working.
Were we ordered to our room, or were we just ordered to this
I think we were told to stay here.
like here in the room?
Yeah, I think so. And I don't mind not leaving for a bit.
Okay.
I assume they're going to do their giant talking thing and their weird concert for a bit, and then we might get an audience with people. But I'm just hoping that leads to an audience with Sarissa.
Okay. So let's be comfortable. Let's rest, eat, happy.
I'm going to just sit on a bed.
Okay.
Oh, come on, Urash.
All right. I'm all right.
You're not all right.
I am. I'm not feeling great at the minute. I don't like the feeling that I don't have the axe anymore. I don't know.
Can you agree that the eggs wasn't good for you?
Yes, but no at the same time. Like, I know it wasn't good for me. I know it was cursed, and I know it had a hold on me. But I miss the way it made me feel in battle. I miss the way that it used to make me feel. Do you ever feel like you follow Foltus, right? Like, that's who you believe in. When you pray to them, you feel them with you, right? Like when you do divine stuff. Yeah, like when you.
Not when I'm praying.
So, I think when I started, I was introduced to Tempest as a super young age. I've always known Tempest. That's one of the only gods I know. And when I was younger, it was a case of I'd feel Tempest there when I prayed, and sometimes when I was told stories of him. And recently, meeting you guys, getting caught up in this adventure, I guess, I felt him more and more, because every fight we got into, he was there. He was by my side. But that axe, when I got that axe, it was like I had his hand on my back and he was pushing me forwards. And every swing, I could feel him smile upon me. And every splash of blood, I could feel his gaze fall to me and go, he is an acolyte. And now, I don't know, I've prayed and I've been in battle since, it just doesn't feel the same.
But you realized how that aches also made you act in battle?
I know. And I wanted to be able to use it as a weapon and not hurt the people I care about. But it's like
What
I've
if there
lost
was
something.
no more
Sorry.
enemies and the axe goes, just one more?
That never happened, so I don't know what would happen. But that is something that used to keep me up quite a lot while we had it.
Celtic's remembering the vision he had way back. I can't remember. I remember the vision. I can't remember where we had them.
Yeah, and it just feels like, I don't know. I'm happy I don't have that curse on me anymore. But it's like I've lost so much more with it. I don't feel myself. I'm sure I will. I don't feel it right now.
We'll find you a bigger axe.
And some really good enemies.
But I think we're doing quite well at finding enemies.
Oh yeah, never in short supply. Anyway, yeah. So should we just stick around? Should we just see when they come back?
I think so.
Yeah. Okay.
I think we could probably do with a bit of a rest anyway.
Okay.
Rest.
So are you also, Pyron, you're a little quiet, so you know. You could come up a little
I'm
bit.
quiet.
Yeah, you could come up a little bit in volume, just on your,
I'll just do it like this, maybe.
or however, that's fine. Okay, so you folks are going to wait, or so you are going to basically rest, as I understand it, until someone comes back.
Yeah, if we can't rest for long enough, then I'll use hit dice if I can. So I assume we're not going to get a long rest.
Okay.
Yep, same here. If we don't, I'll also like to use hit dice if
Okay,
we need
let's
to.
do, yeah, so let's have you do that. And sorry. I don't care, just get that. Yeah, okay. Yes, let's do that. Let's have you do the hit dice then. And let's see. Okay. So Celsig with the 6 points.
Yeah, so I get that at 44.
Yep.
That's how I get that. Okay.
44 to 47. And then Greta will use every hit dice ever. No, I'm just kidding. Greta got pretty badly banged up back there during the fight. So
I still have
With the fireball
Yeah.
that I set off.
yes.
I still have 8 hit dice left, and I'm going to use 4 of them.
Okay.
Did it work?
What's up, Beta Ruxu?
Well, that was a bad roll, but still.
9. Okay.
Well,
So
still 9 points, right?
48
Yeah,
is better than
9
39. Okay.
That's
And yes,
48
welcome in.
that-
Ruxu.
so, 48 hit points for me then. At least something.
Yes. Okay, it is a little bit more chill for the moment at Aruxu. I'd say there's still some tension, but at least it doesn't involve direct, we're about to be killed right this second. It'll just be later. We'll see how that goes. Also, as a reminder, by the way, this is ArvCon Day 2, that these fine people are here as a member of this party, supporting our cause for the Juvenile Diabetes Research Foundation. We already blew through our first goal of 2,000, so we have set a new goal of 3,000, and we are currently sitting at 2325. If you're capable of donating, exclamation point donate will bring you, show you that link. You can go over to that page. It is, of course, international friendly, I should say, if you are overseas. It doesn't have to be just US based. It also accepts PayPal, and as well as credit card and all that kind of good stuff. So all that would be helpful. Once you've done that, if you can come back and then go exclamation point donated space and then the number that you donated, then we will make a note of that and we will update our list. Yes, exactly. Thank you, Echo. And if you want to keep it anonymous, you can always just private message me on Twitch, whisper me on Twitch, or theoretically, I guess, on Discord as well, or let one of the mods know, and they will let me know that there is an anonymous donation, and I will make sure to add to the total and thank anonymously, but not call you out specifically. So, but thank you, everyone, for being here for this. These folks are going to be going for another couple of hours or so, and then we will, about 2 hours and 15 minutes, roughly speaking, and then we will give way for our concert, which is happening tonight, starring Kilgore Trout, current GOG team member, Chrono Wolf, former GOG team member, and Indy, who has nothing to do with GOG, but is a good guy. And then tonight, 10 p.m. Eastern, is the last event of ArvCon Day 2, and that is Community D&D, which is the campaign in which Kilobyte, who passed away from diabetic complications, used to play in, so it all sort of fits together. All right, with all that said, so you are resting and kind of gathering your senses, and I just want to be clear, while you're resting and stuff, is anyone doing anything specific about, I don't know, what, like, I mean, you're staying in the room, you're not going to wander about or anything else, so you're pretty much just resting and chatting quietly, as I understand it, or is there anything else?
Unless there's an opportunity for a bath.
Well,
There's a big pool of water.
there is a pool of water. That is true.
I will have a bath.
Okay. All right. So, River, when you go out to this area, you notice once you get to the pool that there is indeed, you can just see sort of the lower legs of a giant guard who is standing here. So there is a giant guard sort of guarding the way up the spiral staircase, apparently. But they are, as I say, out of the way. Other than that, you don't see any other giant guards or anything else around.
All right. Well, I have a bath.
Okay. All right. When you're in here, so it's kind of a saltwater bath. You know, it's kind of comfortable and all that. You can see the portcullis down below, and you can also hear a kind of strange, almost sloshing or swishing sound, more than your own movement around the pool, that seems to be coming from below and through that portcullis.
I call to the party and say, "Hey, guys, I hear a thing down there. Hello?"
It echoes.
Oh.
Hello,
I run
hello, hello, hello.
I run out of the room
yeah.
if I hear her.
Okay.
Yeah, I follow.
So you
Yeah, I
see
follow.
River on the edge of the pool.
Guys, there's bubbly sloshiness coming from there, and I point at it.
Well, then maybe get out.
Did you break
Oh.
wind?
That would be a good idea. I get out, totally naked, and go to my clothes.
Immediately rating shoots up to R+, you know. But also numbers shoot up as well by
Well-
4 times.
Welcome to ArvCon After Dark.
Exactly. Oh man. We'd like to welcome you to the last annual ArvCon. Okay. So,
Okay, I'll go to the edge of the pool and have a very careful look down in case of tentacles or
you definitely don't
whatever
see tentacles,
bad things.
but you
Wait,
do.
so I was naked and there's tentacles now. This is good. This is
No, you
this
definitely do
ratings
not
are
see
just going up
tentacles.
and up and up.
Exactly. No, you do not see
What have I gotten
tentacles.
myself into?
But you do see bubbling coming from the portcullis. You can see that over down here.
I've definitely seen this movie before.
I don't trust that there could still be tentacles, although I don't see them yet. Okay, so did you hear anything that maybe the portcullis down there was opened?
Well, maybe. I didn't look. Maybe we should look. Who wants to look?
I don't want to look. Anybody wants to dive down to a bubbling portcullis in a fortress under the sea to see what's bubbling?
Not it.
I had a bath last week. I'm good.
I was in there like 20 minutes ago. Hard pass.
Oh, okay, I'll do it.
Okay, are you casting water breathing on yourself, River?
Yes. I'm looking to find the spell.
Okay. I had this image of you putting on your clothes and then just walking back over and diving back in with all your clothes on for some reason. It's like,
Yes,
Alright,
that's
here we go.
exactly what I'm doing, actually.
okay, awesome.
All right, I have cast water breathing on myself and enter the water.
Okay. All right, so you're able to get to the bottom, and you can see that the portcullis is now partially open. It's not all the way open, but it looks open enough that you probably could, if you wish, swim underneath the portcullis, which is about a third of the way up. It's a bit of a squeeze, but you should be able to make it through, you think.
Okay. I return to the party and relay the information.
This sounds like a trap, doesn't it? Like, hey, you nice little people, folks, guests. Look, there's a way out. Take it.
Why would that be a trap? We were supposed to stay in our rooms. That doesn't make sense.
I feel it makes sense in a bad world.
Oh, I am not a bad world, so I'm going to go look.
No. There might be tentacles down there, or...
It's okay, I have my clothes on.
Greta is not really sure what else dangerous things lives in the sea, but she's trying to make something up apart from tentacles, but coming up with nothing.
Okay, I will go look and come back. And so then I go back underneath and walk toward the portcullis.
Okay. Underneath, as you get close to the portcullis, you can see that there's like a lot of swirling water. You would have to go basically through the portcullis to see a little bit more, because it's just difficult to see. There's a lot of maybe silt and stuff like that, so it's not easy to sort of see past the area right around here, right around there.
Okay, can I like go through the portcullis but then still hug the wall so I'm not sucked into whatever's swirling and awful?
You can try to do that if you wish, sure.
I will try to do that.
Okay, so go ahead and move your character to here then, as you're doing the hugging the wall business.
You should have used a safety rope, right?
You do not have a safety rope.
We probably
at the
should
moment.
have, yes.
Probably.
Do you wanna have
We
a safety
absolutely should have done that before she went back under, yes.
Yeah.
rope? All right, well, at the moment you're able to hold on, and you can see once you're past that first swirling what it is that's causing this. It appears that you're in a room that has an enormous grate at the bottom, and it looks like the grate, there is water sort of swirling around the outside of the grate. And as you look up above, you can actually see that the sort of vortex of water gets stronger and stronger the higher up it is, or I should say wider and wider. So there is a current here, but it's not as strong as you might expect to kind of like suck you in. It looks like the higher up you go, the stronger it would get. And if you were in that funnel of water that you can see kind of swirling around, it would be really difficult. There is a little bit of a current, having said all of that. And the bottom of this area here is strewn with debris. It looks like there are a bunch of wrecked ships which are there, and the walls are covered with coral and other ocean life. The other thing you notice, though, is that there are also other passageways. Oh my goodness. Peripheral Mike with the Twitch Prime sub. Thank you, Mike, very much. It is very kind of you. I appreciate it. Thank you, thank you. Oh my goodness. And Peripheral Mike has donated $120 to the Juvenile Diabetes Research Foundation. Thank you, Mike.
So that's,
wow.
No, it's quite all right. I just want to say that's on behalf of peripheralmedia.net. So that's not just me, that's the entire corporation just chipping in.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Thank you to peripheralmedia.net. And thank you so much for getting us. We're almost to $2,500. That means, folks, $2,445 out of $3,000. Thank you so much, Mike. I really appreciate it. Thank you to you and peripheralwhat.net again? Branding?
Peripheralmedia.net.
Peripheralmedia.net. Right. Okay. Want to make sure you had that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Both. So at the bottom of this, that's really awesome. Thank you. So at the bottom of this, you see all this debris, and there are what looks like these other passageways, 4 other passageways, which all have portcullises that are down below. Like you can see, one of them is here, one of them over here. There looks like there might be one over here, and then another one that's here. It's not clear if the portcullises are open or closed yet. Like, you'd have to get closer to see that. But that's what you see.
Okay. I return to the party and relay information.
Okay. Okay, and actually the party should be over here, right? Because you're like waiting by the
Yes.
pool. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right,
very true.
return to the
Yeah.
party and report. Okay.
So does that mean that the maelstrom is giant made?
It looked like a big drain. Yes.
Where's it drained to?
I didn't want to find out. I thought you'd get mad.
Yes.
We
I don't know.
definitely
I
be
want to
concerned.
find out.
Yeah,
I would have been
don't.
worried, and then I would have been mad. Huh.
But do you guys want to go look, or no?
No, really.
But it might be cool.
Yeah, but you know, like we're down there looking at whatever is there, and then they come to pick us up for the audience. It will make a really bad impression.
Oh, that's true. They'd be very upset, and then we wouldn't get dinner.
That's
Also
true,
very
yeah.
small, and don't really want to go around something that sucks ships down. I don't think I'd do very well.
Yeah, let's not do this. But
then you
keep
got
this in.
Greta in her armor and
That means I can walk on the bottom. That's very practical.
yeah, that's actually true. Why don't you go have a look?
No, I don't want to.
But I
So
can make you
let's-
breathe underwater. It's so much
No.
fun. You
We'll
breathe
tie a rope on you. It'll be fine.
underwater.
I've heard there are like big things under the sea that can swallow you whole, and I don't need that experience again.
No.
Yeah, but I think we've established that's the giants.
Yeah.
No.
Yep.
Let's be good guests. Get River dry so she doesn't look this suspiciously dripping, and
I don't think you should set Greta on fire. Put River on fire.
I don't want to set River on fire. You set me
To
on
be
fire.
very, very dry for the rest of her life.
Yeah. Which won't be very long.
Oh, all 5 seconds of it.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it's true, right? You'd be incredibly dry for the rest of your life.
Let's get some food and wait.
Okay.
I vote wait.
Okay.
I mean, it's a viable option. If everything goes south, I think that's a good option to try and go through there. At the end of need, that would be,
If
you know,
it's open.
if it's open, then yeah, that would be probably where
Yeah.
we would go and try and get through. You know?
Yeah, so we swim through. They switch on the maelstrom. We're like, oh, the little creatures are all gone. Ooh.
Well, that wouldn't be very nice.
Some of these giants aren't.
Yeah,
So
very
let's-
true.
Where's the chart?
You'll see from
Little
this
marked by
diagram. If you
uncertain.
turn
Yeah,
to-
exactly.
Yeah, you turn to page 4 of your presentation.
On alternate Tuesdays, these giants are not.
So let's just, go back to our rooms, be nice.
I just go to the bottom of these stairs. Is there still singing and crab organ? going
No,
on?
there is no singing or crab organ. In fact, upstairs is now eerily silent. The only thing you can see up the stairs are the legs of the guard.
Well, that doesn't bode well. So I go back to the team. So I do reckon we should probably just wait for now.
Yes.
We'll just wait around and see what happens. Essentially, just wait until we can get an audience with them upstairs. See if we can get in front of Sarissa.
Okay.
And with that, I will slowly saunter back to the room.
All right. Are all of you doing the same?
Yeah, I went back to the room and I'm using the bedclothes to dry off.
Okay. Super
Like a
comfortable.
dog, you're just rolling around on the
Rolling
bed.
around on the bed.
No. Oh. Nice salt water.
I just
smell.
like that's definitely not my bed.
I lean over to Greta. How's she not running the Harpers?
I don't know. I seriously don't know at this point. Because she has so far done more to save creature kind than the rest of them, right?
Remember how they were supposed to be helping us?
I don't feel helped.
Yeah,
I don't think they
how's
do.
How's that working out for us?
I
Yeah.
feel like they're keeping my pony hostage. That's how I feel about them.
I thought that dragon was looking after the pony.
Yeah. How would you feel if a dragon looked after your pony?
Well, I've been winding you up about it the whole time, so...
Well, I really think we're close to solving this. So let's, and then we get back the pony, and then we take over the hoppers. because I see a lot of potential
Wait,
there
what?
that is completely unused.
And thus the party becomes chaotic evil.
Wait a minute.
No. I'm pretty sure they are like chaotic neutral or something bad like that. And so it's there is a lot of potential there that we could use for good if they would just listen.
I'm not taking over an organization.
Well,
I'm here to
Celtic is
stop.
going to.
To be fair, if we can save the world from the giants and restore King Hecaton, we can basically just walk in and go, "We stopped the giants. What have you done in your lifetime? We're in charge now."
Yeah, we're in charge, and you also still can have your casino.
Yes, and we can make it the official Harper Casino.
Yes.
No, I'm not liking this new direction, guys.
What do you mean?
This
This
isn't-
is direction. This was the plan the whole time. Where have you been?
This isn't what I signed up for. I signed up to stop giants destroying the world, not to just walk into Harper headquarters and go, right, yeah, this is nice. We'll have this.
If we still stop the giants destroying creature
It'll be
kind
the
first,
ultimate heist, stealing an organization.
we're not stealing it. We're making it better.
Let's maybe
Hey,
table
we're
that
members.
one for
We
now.
can't steal it. We've just been promoted.
Yes. See, she's a member. So
We'll promote Chai
Yes.
and River.
River. Yes, River for Harper president.
Yeah.
As you were
Good
having
for
these,
everyone.
again.
Cupcakes on Sundays. Yay!
exactly, as you're
Make
having
the
these
Harper's great again.
pleasant, make Harper's great again. As you're making these reminiscences, making up the red baseball caps and so forth, to make this happen. As you're all sort of doing this, and by the way, Celsic, you're back in the room now, right? I just want to make sure.
Oh yeah, did I not move
Yeah,
myself?
your character's out there. Just want to know, are you out there?
Sorry, yeah, I was invested in the conversation. There we go. I'm back.
So, a knock comes on the door. After about maybe a half hour or so.
That seems totally reasonable.
There is indeed a knocking on the door.
Yeah, come in.
I open the door.
Okay, I just want to make sure. I was like, and do we do? Okay.
Quick, everyone hide under the beds. You'll never know.
River's still
Ooh,
rolling
those-
around on the bed.
Ooh, those scamps. Yeah.
Okay.
They're just like, where did the prisoners, guests go? And why is one bed really wet?
Exactly. Okay, and as you look here, let me zoom in. You can actually see I made these the guards before, and I did not mean to make them the guards. These were actually the sisters. And you see that Mirren is standing outside of it, and she says she waits there and then says, echo machine on, says, "So, I trust you found your quarters to be comfortable for you?"
Yes, very. Thank you.
I'm happy to tell you that my sister Sarissa will see you now. If you'll just come with me, please.
Yes.
Excellent.
Yep.
Thank you.
Okay.
I whispered to the boy, "Who's gonna do the talking?"
Okay. She brings you in
Not-
here,
Not River.
and and as you come to this place, you find
no.
that you're not
No.
alone.
Oh.
Waiting in this place,
Shit.
Well, we know there's giant ambassadors around.
Good.
you see the
Oh,
four giants that were originally there inside the that were listening to the concert before. They all seem to be waiting for you.
Well,
And
maybe that's a good thing.
as you sort of enter the room,
Oh, you've clearly never been jumped outside of the pub before.
Mirren is they're not in the water.
Well, out
they're
of character,
outside
isn't
like
this kind of exactly what we wanted? We specifically wanted them to be around.
Sort of,
when we
yeah.
spoke to-
Sort of, yeah.
When you come in, Mirren says, as you enter, has this not very pleasant grin on her face and says, "Yes, your audience will begin shortly. In the meantime, the four of you know what to do." And her eyes kind of flicker to the four of them. They all they have their weapons, clubs, axes, and so forth with them as usual, and they kind of shoot looks back at her. and she bows and then goes up the stairs, and the guard follows her. So she disappears along with the guard, and you are left facing these four.
Let's
And
talk our way out of this.
the one
I agree.
one of these sort of looks at you, and all of you, and says, "I am sorry to be forced to render this judgment, but it is the request of Duchess Mirren, that Princess Mirren, that we are to eliminate potential threats to giant kind, and thus we are forced to destroy you. I apologize for this. This is rather irregular, but these are dark times. I'm sure you understand. It would be much more helpful if you would not make a fuss. We will make it, of course, a quick, swift death." And starts pulling out his axe.
But
We're not threats. We're messengers on
were sent by
behest of your Oracle of the Allfather.
yes, the Eye of the Oracle, Allfather sent us.
And so as you say this, let's see, make an
No
insight check for me, please, Greta.
Okay, I'm making inside check.
Hey, 25. You notice that this, let me see, which one was it here? This one here, which is one of the stone giants. You can tell because of the grayness of the skin. They have this kind of great stone maul. This one, when you say that, sort of, you can see like they kind of look startled, and then says,
In a good way?
well, it says, "Wait. You have spoken with the Oracle? You have spoken with the Eye of the Allfather?
Yes.
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 They
How
told-
did you gain access to our sacred place?"
We were
With a
helped
brave
by
giant
other
called
giants.
Harshnag.
Harshnag helped us, and we
As
have
you
a
say,
message-
one second. When you say Harshnag, you notice that several of the giants like exchange glances, like they've heard that name before.
And we were taken there by Zephyros. I'm doing it now.
Sephiroth.
Sephiroth? They're like,
Da,
that was
da, da,
the
da.
remake is really okay.
Yeah.
Anyway. No, they don't do that.
It's a real long story, guys. but
So sorry,
honestly,
Greta. I'm sorry to interrupt, but I had interrupted Greta, but I just was
It's not a
doing that to
problem.
get that one thing. So go ahead, Greta, and then I'll come back to you. Mike.
Let us at least tell you the message from the Eye of the Allfather, and then you can make up your own mind.
And so the fire giant says, "This is nonsense. We need no reason to. We've been told what we must do." And the other one, the stone giant, says, "Be careful, Tartha. You're aware that we're not supposed to act with foolishness and uncertainty. Unless we've been ordered to do so, Braxow. These little ones say they have spoken with the Allfather, and I will not allow violence to take place until I know what the Allfather has said. I take orders from him, and not from Mirren and Nim." And there's sort of a general murmuring. You can see that Tartha seems somewhat unconvinced, the fire giant, but Braxel seems to have at least, stopped the other two from doing anything for the moment. So Braxel looks at you and says, "Very well. Speak, and do not use deceit."
I will not use deceit. I can even prove my words if needed be with a truth spell. The Eye of the Allfather sent us here. We are charged with restoring the ordering, and it told us that a blue dragon called Limrith has misled Hekaton's daughters.
And so there's a sort of moment, and then all of the four look. "Misled? Who is this Did you say Imrith?" And they all kind of look at each other.
Yes, a blue dragon.
Blue. And there's sort of a pause, and then Tartha says, "Blue dragon? What nonsense! There's no blue dragon. Imrith is a giant, a storm giant."
Oh.
I have been
No,
told
she isn't.
that-
She's
Yeah,
no,
that-
what? And then, like everyone's just like, "Ugh." And
When we were in the Eye of the Allfather, and my colleague can cast a Zone of Truth on me if she wishes to verify this, we were attacked by the blue dragon known as Imrith, and Harshnag saved us. He fought off the dragon. We don't know his fate, but he forced us to leave with this message to come here.
are you saying that Imrith is a dragon?
And has misled
Yeah.
Hekaton's daughters,
Yep.
which might have some connections with his disappearance.
And there's kind of a pause where they sort of are all looking. And then you note that this one over here, which is a frost giant, says, "The name of Harshnag is known to us. Harshnag was a powerful warrior. I don't know whether to believe creatures that don't look as if they could survive a fight. Did all of you do this, or did you run away and make up this story for later use, I wonder?" And he kind of gazes down, I can't avoid the pun, coldly at you.
Again, we can back
With
up
the-
anything with a zone of truth.
With that, I would just like to, for what is probably the first time since we got here, I stand up completely straight and I almost look like I have my chest puffed out a little bit, like I'm proud. And I say, Harshnag is a very brave warrior and a great one at that. And I had the honor to fight in his company. So don't tell me that we're making this up, because I have seen the fury in his eyes as he took down that dragon.
And so this one, Braxau says, perhaps, sorry, I missed the name. Perhaps, Helenhild, this is not the best time for this discussion. And then Helenhild says, "Shut up, Braxau. There's no better time to decide whether someone's telling the truth than to test them. Here!" And he pulls what for him is like a hand axe from his belt, but for you is like a pretty decent sized axe, and he tosses it to you, and he says, "Come. One strong hit." Sorry, Echo Machine. One strong hit.
To me,
Yes.
okay.
So if you're going to do that, then you would have to run at him and make an attack.
Yeah, pretty much. I take the axe up. Is a single-handed axe or a great axe, or
For
what
you,
is it?
it's
What we're
basically a
talking
great axe.
about? Basically a great axe.
You
okay,
still have a
cool.
-2, though. Yeah, that's.
Yeah, that's fine. That's absolutely fine. Okay, cool. Then I pick the axe up. I look at him and I say, "You're a big guy. Are you absolutely certain you want to do this?"
And he says, "Only cowards chat when combat is on the line." And he sort of sets his legs wide. His muscles ripple up and down his body.
Okay. I put the axe on my shoulder. I get into a fighting stance and I say, "I'm actually really looking forward to this." Now, I'm going to run towards him and I'm going to attack him. What do you want me to do?
I
I'd like
would
to
like
rage
you-
at the same time, but I'm not sure if that's
You can do that if you wish. Otherwise, I'm
Okay.
going to ask you to simply roll initiative, just you. He's
Yeah.
going to do the same thing.
He has
Okay,
questioned
I
Your
will-
Honor.
That's true. I will roll initiative. 15.
Okay. Let's see. One moment. Must consult statistics. Let's see.
This got out of hand in a way that I did not see coming at all.
Well, you notice
Yeah,
that
you're
none of
not,
the other,
honorable
you're not the
Joe.
only one.
none
you're
of the
not
other
the only one.
giants are moving. You notice that the other giants are just
Yeah.
standing there.
I'm observing, and if I'm not worried, then nobody else should be.
Outwardly worried.
It's an
Yeah,
honourable
you're
Joe.
not verbally worried. Yeah, yeah.
If he accidentally kills the giant, then we should probably be worried.
Just
Very
right through
true.
the
Yeah,
throat.
very
I'd be very, very worried then. Very worried.
Okay. All right, you're gonna get a chance to go first.
Me,
You. So you will get a
Excellent.
chance to get your
I
attack in.
barrel towards him with a ferocity that I've not felt in a while, and I recklessly attack my opponent.
Okay.
So just standard attack. Am I making one, or am I doing my double attack?
You can make your double attack. This is an axe, so you're proficient in it. So you get a lot of those benefits. You do have the -2 on each of the attacks, though.
That's very true. So it's going to be, so normal axe is going to be just strength plus proficiency, yeah?
Yes, right.
Okay, so bear with me just 1 second. I am just going to roll the axe of blood weapon, but if we just -1 to the attack, because that's a +1 attack.
Okay.
So 18.
That will hit.
That will hit. Fantastic. So reckless attack. I gain advantage if I do reckless attack, so I'll just roll it again just in case I get crit. No, I don't get crit. 21. I'll probably hit as well.
That's a miss. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I was wait, what?
Yeah, okay, that's a hit.
Excellent. So if I roll this damage and then just minus what I need to minus, so that would be an 11, which is actually 1d12 plus strength, so that would be 10, but then +2 for raging, so 12.
Okay.
So what did you say I was -2 at? Hit or damage?
Hit. 2 hit. So
2 hit. So even with the -2, a 19 would hit, yeah?
Yeah, 19 would still hit.
Cool. So that's 12 points of damage.
Okay. So
on the first hit.
So he steps back and he gets this, you get this big cut on his side, and he looks at you, and then and he has this big smile on his face, and then he whips out with his axe. Let's see, that is a 26 to hit.
Just about, yeah.
Okay.
He hit your descendants.
Yeah. Okay, he does 16 points of damage to... Oh, wait, he gets advantage on that. I forgot, because you're reckless. But okay, 16 points of damage to you.
Yep.
And so
wait, is that halved?
No. Were you raged?
Yes.
Oh, okay. So then it would be half would be 7. So you does 8 points of damage then.
Okay, excellent. Thank you.
And so you stagger back a couple steps. He staggers back a step. He waits, and then... I like this one. Apparently, the little folk can sometimes provide some courage after all. Very well. I'm willing to believe that someone willing to attack with 4 of our brethren standing around them can't be too much of cowards. I conclude they must be telling the truth. Now, the only one who hasn't yet spoken... Sorry. I will now speak with my echo machine every time. The only one who has not yet spoken is the Cloud Giant. And the Cloud Giant has been standing watching all of this silently, and then says, I don't understand all of you. So because supposedly Imrith has now become a dragon, we're supposed to believe the small folk? Because this one can inflict a wound upon you, Helahild, after all the time you've been away from the battlefield, we're supposed to believe that he's telling the truth? And you, Braxow, because they make up some story about having found the Eye of the Allfather. All of this means that we're supposed to defy Mirren and Nim in their fortress. You know what happens if we tell them no. And the other 3 sort of look at him and say, Tartha, the fire giant, Duchess says, no decision has been made yet, Val, but it's only good sense to try to gather information as much as we can. We are not storm giants, after all, nor their thralls as of yet. And Val's kind of eyes flicker fire, and he says, if you're making some insinuation, Tartha, I would suggest you make it more openly, so I can take your head and place it in this pool next to us and leave it there to rot. And Tartha sort of looks back at him, and there's a moment where sort of stands up, and Braxo says, peace, peace. This bickering gets us nowhere. What would you need, Val, to be convinced? And Val says, it appears that none of you have been convinced yet. But I would be willing to believe it if this were not some ragtag group. Look at them. They look as if they've been on the road for weeks, months perhaps. If they had something of quality, if they had some items of value. And he kind of pauses and then says, one of the others says, Tartha says dryly, if they were willing to bribe you, you mean. And he sort of glares and says, I would not have put it that way, but fine, if you wish, Tartha. I am interested to see what wealth any of the party might have. that might make it worthy of us to consider their options. Also, I want to thank Dan Van Dam for the raid. You are an officer and a gentleman. He says this as Dan Van Dam, like, surfaces from the pool with his raiders, like, right above behind you. So anyway. Yeah, so he sort of waits looking at all four of you. Vol does, the cloud giant.
Okay. Salsing's already digging through his pack at this point.
We have indeed been on the road for weeks or months on end. So most items we carry with us are items that are of use rather than of value. But to honor you, noble giant, we can of course part with you. And I drop my magic shield. I'm not giving away the dwarven helmet though. Just
So he
saying.
looks down at the magical shield for a minute and he says, "This shield, it is yours,
It is mine.
yet you would give it up."
I would give it up. We're here on something that is bigger than us. We're here to restore the ordering. We were promised an audience, and I want to get it.
What do little folk care about the ordning? Why would it matter to you what happens in giant kind?
We all live in the same world, and they don't want to see it going down. Do
Must-
you really think this world can stand without the ordering of the giants?
Giants have already started attacking settlements of little folk, unprovoked, because they feel they can.
Not even settlements, cities, big major cities have been put under attack and put under siege by giants because there is no ordering.
Perhaps the time, says Helenhild, the frost giant. Perhaps then it is time for the giants to take their rightful place. If they are stronger, perhaps it is the job of the other settlements to defend themselves, or if not, to fall. It is the way of things.
And while the giants may well win, there will be losses. Eventually, the little folk will unite. They will fight individually at first, and then when they realize they are facing a greater threat, they will band together, and there will be giant losses.
And
it
you
could
will
all
have
been
greater
avoided.
threats on you as well. Think of the potential of Imrith being a dragon.
If the
that
giants
is
are
something that
weakened,
Yeah. They could be taken advantage of. They could be infiltrated. They could be assassinated, slaughtered without strong leadership there, like Hecton and the Ordning.
We all walk under the same light. I still believe that there can be friendship between giants and us small folk. And if you're so sure of yourself anyway, there's nothing you can lose by granting us an audience with your leader.
And there's kind of a long pause, and then the stone giant, Braxel, says, "There is some wisdom in this. We know that the giants themselves are currently at war with each other. If this continues, there is little to know about what will happen, and whether or not the time has come, Helenhild, we will not determine it if it is not clear as to who is in charge of the giants." And Helenhild says, "Ha! As for that, the frost giants would eventually take their place, their rightful place, at the top of the ordning. But yes, in the short term, I agree. Only a fool would run into battle without knowing the layout of the field." And Tartha says, "What's more important than any of this is what has happened if a dragon has infiltrated themselves into our court. This would be disastrous. You remember that business with Tiamat and the rest of the dragons about a decade ago or so? There was any number of things that could have gone wrong then. It seems impossible, but..." And Vol, who, without looking away from the shield that he's still admiring as he kind of turns it around in his hand, says, "Either way, this won't go over with the court one way or the other. This might be very risky. We are ambassadors, you all know, not the leaders of our peoples." And so they all kind of pause and think about it. Now, what I'm going to ask is, each one of you is going to get a chance to persuade, or be the person who is the lead person, to persuade each of these giants. So I'm going to ask you to make 4 separate persuasion checks. But what I am going to ask is the person persuading will have an effect on the outcome. So thinking about basically who is going to try to persuade each giant is going to be important, basically. Because these are 4 very different giants, which, as you might be able to tell, have different motivations from each other.
I pick this guy.
Seems logical.
Good at this.
Seems logical. Does anyone have a thought about who wants to take on Tartha, the Fire Duchess?
Who was the one who wanted bribes?
That was Vol, the cloud giant, the purple
I'll speak to Vol.
Celsig's on Vol, okay.
Who was the one who was so impressed with the Eye of the All-Father, so the religious
That's
one?
the stone giant, Braxel.
This guy.
Yep.
I would take that then, if that's okay with
Seems
everyone.
logical. That means that it is up to the, well, interestingly, that would leave the river to convince Tartha, who hates dragons, why there might be dragons. But all you're trying to convince her actually is you're not trying to convince her to trust dragons, you're trying to convince her that there is in fact a dragon in the court. And so when she sees you, she kind of gives you this stern kind of looking down upon you. All right, let's do this in order. Mike, we'll start with you, with Urash. Urash, you are going to get advantage on this check because you have wounded Helenhild in battle. So you're going to get advantage on this persuasion check.
Cool. Persuasion. It's a 19.
Okay. So tell me what you're telling Helenhild then.
Well, first of all, I offer him his axe back.
Okay. He takes it, nods.
Cool. You fight well. I've fought some enemies that could take a hit and some enemies that just my blade goes cleanly through them, and I don't know, recently I've not had my heart in it. But that made me feel good, and I thank you for that. But this, it doesn't cover up the fact that there is a much bigger thing going on here. I mean, I don't think I realized what I was getting into when I joined this group. That the world is changing under our feet. Sometimes literally, like, giants are throwing boulders at cities and towns, and it's fine to think that's where you belong, because as a half-orc, you know, I can look down on other races, I can look down on other creatures, but that doesn't mean their place is any less than mine. And that doesn't mean that without them, the world will continue the way it always has done. If there are no races smaller than you, then what's to stop races that are bigger than you doing the same thing? This will turn into a war, and it's a war no one's going to win.
I feel like I can win most wars, if given the chance.
I appreciate that. I feel like with a good mission, stout heart, maybe some meat in my stomach, and a sharp axe, I can take out pretty much anything. And I've lent on that for a long time. But sometimes, and at this point I'm kind of touching the symbol of Tempest, sometimes you need to know the impact of your fight and what that's going to do to those around you. If you have friends, family, brethren, comrades, war buddies, anything like that, there's nothing to stop your enemies seeing you busy fighting smaller folk and take advantage of that. There's nothing to stop them from taking your wives or your children, from taking your brothers or your sisters. And trust me when I tell you that's not a nice experience. If you're busy chasing glory, there's nothing stopping anyone coming and murdering and pillaging where you live, where you eat, where you sleep. You're never the biggest thing in the world. You're never the strongest arm. You're never the sharpest axe. There's always something there that's always stronger than you are. I'm not saying we're not strong. I'm just saying that realistically, I follow Tempest, and for the longest time, I thought he was the strongest thing in all the planes. And now I'm starting to realize that he's strong because I believe in him. But he's not strong because I don't believe in him as well. So it's a mixed feeling. It's I don't know. It's you have to know your battles, and you have to know them well. It's one of the tenets, you know. Follow the rules of war. It doesn't mean your enemies will. Just because you're fighting with honor doesn't mean they will.
And there's sort of a long pause. Okay, we're going to see how that comes to fruition in just a moment. I'm going to move down the path to River, who's talking to Tartha. So Tartha is kind of just like staring at you, baleful, you know, kind of like, you know, just kind of glaring at you. And what do you want to say to her?
Dragons, right? Infiltrating everything. Can you believe that? Just like showing up, not even offering you any food. We gotta get rid of those guys before they kill all of your people and take all of your mutton.
She kind of like tilts her head and then says, "Why would you have any interest in doing this as a dragonborn yourself? Don't you identify more with the dragons?"
Why would I do that? I'm not dragons. I am dragonborn. We are different.
Kind of looks you up and down.
You are very pretty, by the way.
And she kind of blinks. Thank you. You notice that, by the way, she is wearing a necklace of certain kind of teeth. And they looked vaguely familiar to you, these teeth, River.
What is your necklace made out of? They are very pretty. Can I see?
And she sort of holds it out. They're dragon's teeth.
Ooh! Whose?
Several.
Wow, you are so strong.
Make a persuasion check for me. Do it at advantage.
21.
So she kind of looks at you, still glaring. You're not sure if you made an effect. I'll come back to whether you had an effect or not. Let me head over to Greta. No, I'm sorry. Let me do Celsig next. Celsig was positioned. I was thrown off. I was bamboozled. I accidentally... I just flipped Celsig's token. What the hell? All right, there we go. Right there. Okay, so maybe a little bit unfortunate. Let's make sure we're in a reasonable proximity with personal space. Okay. So, same question to you, Celsig. So you're facing Mr. Guy who took the bribe thing, who's still kind of staring at his shield. What do you want to say to Vol, the cloud giant?
It's a nice shield, isn't it?
It's not terrible for small folk shields.
And it's not even the best they have to offer. Little folk are incredibly inventive, very creative. They make a lot of nice shiny things.
And he kind of looks down, he looks up for the first time, and you're supposed to be an expert, I suppose, in these shiny things?
I have an eye for them. I've been known to acquire and collect during my travels. Like this. I pull out my little music box and open it.
Okay. And it plays this pleasant little tune. And as it's playing, he sort of, like, his eyes widen a bit, and he says, "Where did you get that music from? How do you know that song?"
You don't hear what I hear with this. This plays something specific to the person who hears it. Me. I hear a band in my local tavern playing a flute piece with a bit of lute by some notable bards. What do you hear?
And he kind of pauses, and it's the sound that was sung to me by my nurse when I was a child. I have not heard that for an age. I don't know, halfling, whether to believe you or to kill you out of your deceit and deception. And he kind of stares at you.
I have no need to lie to you about this. I played this for my party members. 2 of them liked it. 1 tried to smash it. Really took a bad reaction to it. Everyone I've played this to has heard something different. I don't know how this was made, but the little folk made this. And I live to find more things like this that the little folk have made.
And he kind of pauses for a long time. Make a persuasion check. You can do this at advantage too.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh! Wow.
Charisma's my dump start.
Okay, so we will see how that reaction comes into play in just a moment. Okay. And last but certainly not least, we have Greta with Braxow. So Braxow, who was the first one to raise questions when you brought up the Oracle, is sort of looking down at you seriously, kind of a neutral expression on his face.
I was as surprised as you, as one of the little folks, to be charged with something as restoring the ordering and actually going to meet the eye of the All-Father, which was not easy.
And so there's a long pause, and then he looks and realizes that there has been an anonymous donation of $71.94 to the Juvenile Diabetes Research Foundation. All right, so now I have to add this up. Calculator time. All right, so 24.45 plus 71.94, 25.16.94. Whoops, sorry about that. I accidentally jumped off you. 25.16.94. Thank you to the anonymous donator. Thank you so much. 25.16.94. 16.94. Please, for the love of God, someone choose something so I can get off of tenths and hundredths, which are not going to fit into my box. But no, seriously, thank you to the okay, is that no? I don't. Okay, that's sort of good. Damn it. Okay, move the thing. Okay. Whew. All right, we did it. Thank you so much, seriously, very much for the anonymous donation. I appreciate that very much. That puts us at 25.16.94. So we are closing in on our next goal of 3,000. So thank you very, very much. Okay, so when you say that stuff, Pyron, by which I mean Greta, he looks down at you and says, I had understood that little folk had little interest in gods or divine spheres of the giants. I thought you were occupied with your own affairs. Even if the Oracle did choose to speak to you, how do we know that you understood him properly, that it knew or you knew what it was saying?
By listening to us, by letting us speak, by letting us have this audience, we can bring the words of the Oracle. Your minds are your own.
He kind of tilts his head a little bit. And why would I not consider it blasphemy that you entered this place and heard our own sacred words? What do the words mean to you, little one?
Actually, during the last weeks or months, they have been a burden. They have been a great task. They have been our destiny, in a way. If it was blasphemy, I would be incredibly sorry, because blasphemy would weigh heavily on me. Although they are your gods or not mine, I respect them with all I have, with all I am, because I am a cleric of my own god. What do the words mean to me? They mean, right now, they are the possibility to make a change, to maybe avoid this catastrophe that is coming, to maybe bring peace to the giants. I believe in truth. I don't want you being misled.
And there's sort of he waits for a long pause and then says, Okay, I would like you to make a persuasion check, please, as well. You can do this as at advantage also.
Yeah, persuasion.
Which Is charisma based.
Well,
Okay.
I'm
Wow.
totally persuasive.
You were
today.
just like, okay.
This has
So-
been fixed.
Exactly. Rigged. So there's a long pause as all of the giants take in the words that all of you have said. And then Helen Hild, Tartha, and Braxo all look at each other, and Braxo says, I will not be one of the guards for Miriam to carry out her own desires. There's no reason we cannot bring these ones to Sarissa. Let her decide what happens. And Vol says, I don't know why you believe these creatures. And Tartha says, it doesn't matter why if you don't know why. It matters that we do. And 3-1, right, Helen Hild? And she kind of looks over. And Helen Hild looks down at Urash and then looks at the wound on his chest and looks at his axe and says, anyone who can strike a blow like that has got to be telling the truth. Fine, let's bring them. But be aware they're not going to like it when they see it. Vol shrugs as if he has been outvoted in the matter. And as you are about to be led up, escorted by giants, this is a good moment for us to take about a 5-minute break. And so I'm going to let the folks go and take their 5-minute break. While I do that, and the players can go do this and then come back in 5 minutes, while I'm doing that, I will let everyone here know. If you're watching this, I hope you're enjoying what you're seeing as much as I am enjoying having a chance to DM it. This is D&D with GOG, Storm King's Thunder, and you are watching this incredible crew composed of Pyron Jade, Darksaber 2K, Peripheral Mike, known as Mike Smith, and Tasty Chai, all engaged in this amazing awesomeness known as D&D. We are here for the Juvenile Diabetes Research Foundation. We are above $2,500, $2,516.94. We already broke our first goal of $2,000. We are now only, $484.16 away from the $3,000 new goal. So please type an exclamation point donate, as Rudinell has just done right there. Please go and donate and let us know, and we will be back to you folks in just about 5 minutes. Until then, everyone, thank you for being here, and hold tight.
Hola, sorry about that. My wife was giving me an update on our cat. He's not been very well recently. Ooh, bio break.
Yeah,
It's a good show.
we're not muted, Mike, just so you're aware, just in case you say
Yeah.
anything. Okay.
Thank you.
Much better. As you all might know, I usually don't drink alcohol, but for this special occasion tonight, I have actually gotten myself a little bit of honey mead. That is fine. I can live with this.
Yeah,
Here.
I'm alright chatting. Honeymead's good. I like
Cheers.
honeymead.
I'm
Ching,
currently drinking an old-fashioned. Cheers, everyone. I just should have left the cameras on. We could have just chatted with chat for a bit.
Yeah, I was just saying, like,
Have a happy hour.
When he said, yeah, right, you're all gonna pair off with the giant to persuade them, I was just like, oh shit, I have -1 charisma modifier. I can't persuade. That's why you might know he's like, Celsic thinks he's a good talker, but very rarely succeeds in talking his way out of situations, which is why he got some spells to help with that.
Yeah, I mean, you were still unlucky. I think you should have just, like, let's not talk. Let money speak.
Well, I was trying that, but because I didn't think just like, here's a bag of money I think that's quite mundane. I don't think the giant would have gone for that. So it was like, hey, what's the nicest magical thing I've got? And it's like, it's the music box. Because I don't want to. I didn't want to risk him taking the lantern because that seems really useful.
That actually seems useful.
Also-
but the music box is just like a curiosity, isn't it?
Yeah, which he likes shiny things. So I was just like, hey, if
Look,
the giants kill off
shiny
all the
thing, it
little
does a
people,
thing.
there will be less nice shiny things in the world that you may potentially get hold of.
Also, I think it was smart to not choose the lantern, just because maybe there is some mark on it that like, this belongs to Duke Zoltan.
Yeah.
Property. It's
That's
like
why
there's like a label maker label on it. It's like
That's why I'm
property
really
of
happy
Duke
that
Zoltan.
Conch hasn't come up in any conversation since we got here.
Yeah, let's probably just not remember.
Greta felt for a moment there was a need to confess, but then decided against it.
I think.
Where did you get the
Greta made
conch?
right
We
choice.
borrowed it.
From a giant who we kind of incinerated his wife's prized possessions, because I think it was the marital bedroom, wasn't it? Yeah. So we incinerated
Yes,
that prized
the marital
possessions,
bedroom with the chains.
blew up their war construct they were making, caused chaos in their minds, and then we came here. How you all doing?
I feel like we have not
How's-
seen the
how's
last
your
of the
Tuesday?
fire giant. But still, I wonder
probably
now
not.
if the not properly bribed giant will now attack us in front of all of his friends, because I feel like killing a giant might make us really unpopular.
It's 3-1. I think unless we gave the giant a reason to attack us, the others are probably gonna possibly. So I'm not gonna bet on it, but I would imagine they'd step in.
Yeah, Lone Wolf's right. We also freed their slaves.
I
as
mean,
well.
let's be honest. Urash is now BFF with his giant.
Yeah, Urash has like
Pretty much,
Fights
yeah.
with-
I'm gonna
Basically, you and him just went full on Klingon. It's like, you fight with honor. We are friends now.
I had no
Oh,
clue what
no,
to
now
say
we're
to
best
that
friends. Let's go
giant.
get drunk together. Yep. I'm best man at his
So-
wedding.
What do these words mean to you? And I was like, well, that we had a really bad time the last few months with these words.
I'm thinking of Offspring.
In ambition.
Ah.
That's exactly what I was going for.
So I'm glad you all knew that you were. I'm sorry about that. I completely.
I don't,
Did
baby.
at
We enjoyed it.
first, And they waited a moment to warn me, but then.
Oh, thank God. I'm very sorry about that. It was a complete accident.
It's all right. I stumbled into the conversation and started talking about my cat's health update. It's fine.
Okay. As long as everyone's
Wait,
like, boy,
wait,
you
what
know the
was-
thing about chat. What a bunch of garbage that is. Like, oh, no, God.
Wait, what was wrong with your cat?
He's not very well at the moment. So he has like a little sore in his mouth, which is making his gums hurt. So he's on some tablets for that. But I think the tablets are making him feel really crappy. So he's normally a really bouncy, lively, happy cat. And today, the last couple of days, he's just been kind of sat, just on his own, just not really doing much, and just being a bit miserable. So yeah, he's getting lots of love and lots of cuddles and lots of good food at the moment. So hopefully, it's a public holiday on Monday. So I've got a couple of days before we can probably take him back to the vet in order to make sure how he is. But I'm confident that he's going to be okay. He's just feeling a bit under the weather at the minute. So
I'm sending good luck to your cat.
thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm sorry to hear that. And again, I apologize for revealing all the secret underlying secrets of the stream team.
Oh, it's fine. It's a peek behind the curtain. It's absolutely fine.
Now they just know that we're just on stream as we are behind the curtain.
What happens
much,
if they
there's
ever
no-
discover that GOG really does have DRM? It's just like, what?
Yeah, we just lean in. We're like, yeah. So about that announcement, God, that's really harsh, isn't it? God, we've introduced
Yeah.
DRM all of a sudden.
Oh, man.
I just announced Half-Life 5 and stuff like that.
Oh, man. So
Yeah.
they made an arrangement with Denuvo? All right.
I work on an IT service desk, and one of the first things we were told when we start the job is never trust the mute.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is, like, because I have like all these multiple windows going, I'm like, all right, so I got mute there, that's all set. This page is down. Like normally I just have the campaign to run, but I'm doing that. I'm also checking in on the JDRF page and everything. So I'm like, okay, make sure that's okay. Giveaways are fine. And I just completely brain farted about actually muting all of you. So my apologies.
Wouldn't worry too much about it.
Yeah.
If you'd like us to do more AMAs on our channel, just hit us up.
Exactly.
Yeah, let us know.
Because that is going to be something like chatting about how the experience of all this was when we are eventually done with it down the line will be an interesting experience, starting all the way from Terra Tribor and then working all the way up through everything until we ended up here. It's been a long road, but we're getting there. We're definitely
Yes,
getting there.
I'm serious. I'm thinking like, we're gonna have this audience. We're gonna tell Sarissa she's gonna be thrilled. She's gonna knight us or something, and everything is going to be fine.
She's like, screw Hecaton. You should be the true rulers of giant kind. Like, like you get your
Think
own.
you're thinking of the end of Star Wars.
Get your own undersea fortress. Yeah.
But the question is, would
quickly,
Urash get a medal?
Get these people a parade.
By the way,
Yeah, get these people
Get
a
these
parade.
people a parade. Quick note, by the way, before we get started again. I was doing a little bit grading a few days ago, wrapping up final grades. It's about, I guess, last week that this happened, and I was watching. I just put on some like a movie that I had never seen before, just as background. So I put on Gorky Park, which is from early '80s. It is William Hurt, and it's basically a murder mystery, but it's set in the Soviet Union. Like it's set in Cold War Soviet Union. But it stars Ian McDiarmid as a really creepy like scientist who like does forensic stuff. So it's literally, I'm like, that's Palpatine, like that's the Emperor. And sure enough, like, so he comes in, he's just kind of like, oh, I shall follow this thing with a head. And I'm like, in my mind, I'm like, with great interest. Like I was just like, I was waiting for it to just go through the whole Emperor Palpatine thing. But it's so weird to see him as anything other than the Emperor. You know what I mean? It was just like, oh, you're just playing this guy. It was interesting. So anyway. All right, so let us get back into it. Thank you, everyone who was here with us over the break. I don't know if I missed any donations. Hopefully I didn't. Doesn't look like I did. Okay, good. Thanks. Lovely. Wonderful. Okay. So please remember to do that, though. ! Donate, and so forth. And hi, Shadowed. What's up, man? We will be playing here for about a little under an hour. We're going to try to wrap up around right around an hour, because 7:40 to 7:45 is when we're going to try to wrap it. So, which is 1 hour from now, basically. So we will continue to make progress in the meantime. Is that okay, Pyron? Pyron's giving this shocked look. Is this okay, Pyron? You're giving this shocked look like you were not expecting.
I'm sorry, I miscalculated time zones and I just had to tell my husband that I'll be in bed 1 hour later than I expected, but it's fine.
Oh, yeah,
Sunday tomorrow.
Yeah, it was till 7. Yeah. It was.
It's 2 a.m. for me then, but I'm okay. I can do this.
I spent the whole day thinking this was going to be an hour earlier than it started.
Oh,
Okay,
no, it was supposed to start at 4. I did start late, but not that late.
I'll just ask Ebenezer to get me some caffeinated soda props thing for a minute.
Tell Ebenezer thank you, and my apologies for keeping you later. Okay.
No, I want to do this. This is wonderful.
Well, I appreciate it.
And see, there he is going.
There he is. All right, good man. Okay, so the party. So they have just made this claim, and they've said, these giants have said that they are going to apparently bring you up to them. Do you have anything you want to do quickly before they lead you up to Sarissa, or are you pretty much ready to go? The group of you.
I'm ready. I don't know about anybody else.
Good.
Probably something I should do, but I can't think of anything.
No, I think
It makes me feel like you want me to do something.
Is there anything you need to think about? Wink, wink. No, I just wanna
Maybe
make-
prepare some
Are you
spells.
sure?
Exactly.
Yeah. Are you certain? Yeah, can we rest for 12 hours first?
How about a long? No. Okay, so go back up to there. Good. Okay, so all right. So you make your way. You are led up, back up to the same floor that you were on before. So the second floor. And when you get up here, you can see that these guards are not here. Let's see. Although I'm gonna bring them down for other reasons. So the guards are not here. That means not here, Arv, as in not present. But this group is bringing you along. And standing in front of, as you're brought down to the south here. There we go. Standing in front of the doors, you see two, what are obviously hill giants. One. That's to scale. I'm just kidding. There's one, and there is. Whoops! Nope. No. And no. Okay, you I would like to copy. Paste. Okay. There are two hill giants that are standing guard in front of this room that you're being led to. And they have these scale mail that they're wearing and rather ill-fitting helms. And as you are brought here, one of them raises their great clubs. Both of them raise their great clubs, actually. And the one over here says, "We guard." Oh, sorry, Echo Machine. "We guard throne room." And the one next to him says, "We're escort." And Braxow, who's in front of the group, sort of stops and says, "We are the escort, COG, as you ought to know if you can see. You, not Storm Giant. Who give reason to enter?" And Tartha says, "We're giving reason to enter. We're bringing the little ones to Sarissa. We have every right to see her. Now let us pass." We not allow, things unless escort." And then the other one says, "But COG," and says this in a loudest stage whisper of all time. "What if this is escort?" And the other one says, "Yeah, problem. didn't say what escort is. Escort is person supposed to come. Well, these are many people. So they seem like they've really stretched the limit. The classic example here from, Holy Grail. Right, you stay here and make sure E doesn't leave, right? And the whole thing is just the two guards who are just kind of like, do I stay here? Do we follow you? So they're just sort of staring at each other. And finally, Braxel steps forward again and says, Tug, Cog, you've done a good job. Now step aside, please, and allow the four of us, ambassadors of the other giant races, to escort these little ones to Sarissa. Escort. Escort. And they turn and stand side to side, or stand apart from each other. They're against the wall. As Braxel looks back at you, Tartha rolls her eyes. Helenhild sort of laughs, and Vol seems to be paying still more attention to his shield than anything else. And brings you through to this room. Okay. So, what you see here in front of you is what looks mostly like an amphitheater, might be the good way to put it. There are stone bleachers that are overlooking an oblong chamber with a very deep pool of what looks like seawater near its center, right here. In the middle of the bleachers, there's an archway with these two doors, and as you are let through, the doors are open, and all of you pass out into the amphitheater, as opposed to passing out and losing consciousness, passing into the amphitheater. This is definitely sized for giants, you can see, like as opposed to the rooms down below. This looks like it is a place where, giants might be seen, but it's definitely a place where giants might be seen and would be able to comfortably be positioned there in a way that you folks would not feel the same way. This is definitely a giant sort of place. Facing the pool and the doors are three enormous thrones. The middle one, the one that's right here, is carved from what looks like a solid chunk of obsidian. It has 4 blue dragon skulls that are affixed to its base, and it is floating a foot about the floor. I will allow Celsig and River to make either Arcana or History checks on this, because this may look familiar to you. Okay, Celsig,
this is
you're
old.
like, definitely a throne. River's also like, absolutely a floating throne. Definitely. I've seen thrones, and this is definitely one of those thrones. Yeah, you have no idea what the hell this thing is. But it definitely is floating above the floor. And the 2 smaller thrones that are to either side of it are made of what looks like coral and giant seashells. Sitting on the throne itself is a clearly storm giant, perhaps slightly smaller than Mirim and Nim, who is wearing hide armor. And you can see that in her right hand, she has got this enormous, what first looks like a wooden maul, M-A-U-L, like a big hammer. But then as you look closer, you see that what it actually looks like it is something made from the mast of a warship. Like, it basically looks like a ship's mast that she's just holding as this enormous club. And around her neck, she has this strange looking, it essentially looks like a scepter, although it's really some kind of a pendant. And in fact, I'm going to show you, I have a great picture of this throne that I want to show you in a minute. But it basically is a mithril rod that looks to be probably as thick as your arm, Greta, you would guess. So very thick, with a small platinum knob at the bottom. And then there's a disc on the top of it with these 7 tiny blue gems. And that is worn around her neck as basically, it looks like a pendant right now. And so she's the one who's sort of standing on the throne, and I want to make sure I show you this picture because it's cool. There we go. Images. Okay. View image. Save image as. When it does that. No. Oh. Okay, here we go. So let me show you this image. I'm gonna have to do it on stream, unfortunately, because I'm trying to do this quick. Okay. So there is the throne.
It looks like a Hoover throne, a little bit, you know.
Like a what?
Like, I don't know, with the way the dragon skulls are positioned, like Hoover throne.
Oh yeah. It basically is like.
While you're sitting on it, it just sort of moves at angles across the room and picks up dust.
Yeah.
Yes.
Is it just like a hungry hippo's throne?
You guys are
He just
ruining
presses
the
a
moment.
button on the hand.
You're
I'm so
ruining.
sorry,
Don't
Just
but
make
presses
the
a button
art
on the
is
side and
wrong.
just starts going, nom.
Don't make
Dude,
fun
look
of
at the
it.
little paws it has.
Yeah.
Seriously, it's not. I don't go with the
It's
art here.
adorable. We
It's
walk
the
in and we're like,
cutest
your
little
throne's
skull.
adorable.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay. So you see this throne that she's on. Throw a bag of marbles and confuse it right immediately. Okay. So, so you're looking at this throne, and you see that there is this storm giant who's sitting on it, dressed in the way I described. To the right and the left, you see that there are two other storm giants sitting in the other thrones. One of them, the one on the left as you look, so her right but your left as you're looking up at her. So basically this one right here. This one is a rather, even for a storm giant, a rather large giant. And he has in his hand a giant-sized trident, like an enormous trident that he's carrying, which is glowing blue and green all up and down its outside, clearly magical in some way. The person who is on the other side is another storm giant, but this is someone who is wearing also not armor, but these sort of greenish robes, and has her hands sort of folded in her lap. She looks older, and she is looking down at you kind of imperiously, as is the guy with the trident. The person who's looking at you with the least sort of like, what are you doing here, is the person who's in the main throne. And when the four come in, accompanying you, there is a pause, and then the one over here says, "And what exactly have you brought us to trouble the king of the giants?" The queen of the giants. And there's a sort of pause, and then Braxal, the stone giant, steps forward and bows and says, "I'm sorry to trouble you, my lady Sarissa, but these little ones asked to see you directly." And Sarissa kind of waits, just sort of looking down at you. And then the one to her right, your left, the other guy holding the trident, says, "Well, how exactly were they brought to us? Were Murin and Nim not involved?" And the giants, from the other, the cloud, fire, frost, and stone, all look at each other a little uncomfortably and then say, "Murin," Braxo says, "preferred that we not bring them to you." And the guy holding the trident says, "I'm surprised. Aren't you, Lady Sarissa?" And Sarissa, the one on the throne in the middle, sort of looks over and then down at you and says, "I am not surprised, Uther. It is important for my sisters to feel as if they have first say. All right then, little ones. What exactly have you come to us for?" I am Sarissa, the Lady of the Giants. I will hear your story if I may.
Yay.
Oh, Celsic bows deeply before anyone says anything, at least.
Okay.
Yeah, I do the same.
Okay.
I
Greta is,
copy, because usually everyone's right.
Okay.
Greta is unsure about bowing or courtesying and does a thing like in between those things.
Okay. The Kurtz bow thing.
So,
Okay.
just like folding up in the middle somehow.
Okay. All right. All right.
Hello, Your Highness. I'm Greta Goldenfire. I'll look at my companions and I hope they will also introduce themselves.
Celsic Mauer.
Urash.
Hi, I'm River. Nice to meet you.
I always like how River is greeting people. I feel it always makes such a positive impact. We are here, because the Eye of the All-Father sent us.
The Eye of the All-Father.
Yes.
The Oracle itself?
Yes.
And she kind of glances both left and right at her advisors.
We know there have been troubling times for the Giants, and the Oracle sent us with a message. And we know this message is hard to believe, but we're still bringing it to you because we believe in the friendship between the small folk and the Giants. And currently, that friendship is on a little bit of trouble up there in the world. So the Giants let us know that this is about your father's disappearance, King Hackathon. I wonder which one of those is Limrith. I'm really nervous here. So that your sisters, Mirren and Nim, have been misled by a blue dragon called Imrith.
So the minute you say Imrith, there's a sort of general stirring, and Uther sort of looks over, as does Sarissa, and they look over at the one who is in the robes over there,
Hiya.
and she kind of looks up and kind of raises her head haughtily
Hey,
and
we
stares
remember
down
you
at
from the Eye of the All-Father.
Imrith attacked Harshnag at the Eye of the Old Father, in the sacred place of the Giants. And Imrith is somehow connected to your father's disappearance and has misled your sisters in some way. And we're here to bring this message and hope to restore peace between the Giants and the small folk.
So there's sort of a dead silence that greets the end of your words, and then clearly the person that you're, Imrith, because that was what everybody was looking at, says, "Well, how fascinating. Apparently now the little folk are not only able to see the Oracle of the Allfather, but they can make up stories about fighting off other giants. Apparently I turned into a dragon and traveled elsewhere, and in this fanciful tale I also happened to deal with other creatures and attack this strange thing you know as Harshnag, all while being here at the same time. Isn't this an amazingly amusing experience, Sarissa? Why are we paying attention exactly, looking at little folk who caused nothing but problems, who no doubt did what was necessary to kill your mother? May she rest in peace with the Allfather. Yet we're supposed to trust them? For all we know, they're the ones who murdered your mother and abducted your father."
You're a giant and you don't know who Harshnag is?
And she kind of blinks and she says, "I've heard his name before. But what's some ex-adventurer who spends his time traveling around rutting with the small humans, with the small folk on the surface, is of no value to us down here. We are concerned with our own affairs, not fanciful stories."
Methinks she doth protest too much.
I would like everybody to make a wisdom check for, sorry, I beg your pardon, an insight check for me, please.
Okay. Ugh.
Wow.
River!
Okay, so like Urash and Sosik are like, huh. But Greta and River, both of you immediately realize, maybe even look at each other when you do so. Something strikes you as strange when she says, for all we know, they're the ones who murdered your mother and abducted your father. And the thing that strikes you as strange is, how is it possible that Imrith could have known that Hecaton had been abducted?
Aha!
I nod knowingly at Greta, who will speak on my behalf because my baby is yelling.
How do you, Imrith, know that Hecaton was abducted?
She sort of pauses. It was a possible assumption. Now that I see that little people can make stories, come into our very midst, evade guards, convince others, and she points at the ambassadors, convince others to do their bidding for them, who knows what it is that you could actually lie about next? And so,
I am totally willing to undergo a zone of truth and prove my words to be truthful. Are you?
and she says, we are not on equal footing, you and I, small one. I am a giant. You are a not.
So you're a giant with something to hide? Why else would you be opposed to a zone of truth?
Uther speaks up from the other side and says, there may be some truth in this, Imrith. Why not reveal what it is that you have to reveal? You have, of course, nothing to hide. And Imrith looks over and says, what I have to hide is I will not allow my privacy to be violated for the good of a group of small little creatures. And for you to insist it, and Sarissa holds up her hand and she says, this is not important right now. What matters more than this is what they may know about the disappearance of my father. And she looks at you, Greta, and she says, do you wish for there to be peace between my people and the small folk?
Yes, of course.
Why? Just to save yourselves? To protect the little ones?
If we wanted to save ourselves, we would never have gone on this dangerous mission. I believe, and Sephiroth has also seen this, that the small folk and the giants can live together in peace. And I always think that peace is more preferable to war. In peace we can prosper, in war we cannot. All of us.
And you can, right next to you, Urash, you can see that Helen Hill is kind of moving around uncomfortably. You can see him kind of muttering under his breath. He clearly doesn't believe this thing about peace. He's kind of like, oh yeah, whatever. Like, so he's kind of like...
You cannot please them all.
It's like, well,
whatever. And so she, you say these things and she kind of nods thoughtfully and she says, my mother once believed as you did. Believed that there could be peace between my people and yours. My father did not know what to believe. But when my mother was killed, he flew into a rage. He believed that it was you and your kind, the small folk, which had had her destroyed. And she kind of looks over at Uther, who doesn't seem to be saying anything. He's just sort of looking at her, waiting. And she says, I have always believed that peace must be the way we follow in the end. But that is not always the most popular position. And she kind of lowers her head slightly, and then she raises her chin defiantly, and she says, but if that is the will of my father, then it is the will that will be done. My sisters, however, do not agree. They also see the dealing with others as a weakness. They say that our loss of power in the ordning is a consequence of our unwillingness to do what must be done, to wipe the little people from the map so that no more harm can come to us. I myself am not certain. And she reaches back to her pouch. And by the way, while this is happening, Imrith is just glaring, like gazing at you murderously, like just you know, if looks could kill, like she is really, really upset. Also, thank you, VTAC, for the resub. I appreciate it. It's good to see you, man. I hope all is well. And yeah, welcome to day 2 of ArvCon to benefit Juvenile Diabetes Research Foundation. So thank you very much, man.
I'll glare back at Imrith. I'll just meet and hold the gaze.
Also murderously? Okay, the
Not
gaze
murder. Well,
comparison.
as murderously as a halfling can look,
Yeah,
which
she's-
basically is the same as looking hungry.
She just kind of looks at you balefully. So she reaches into this pouch, and then she brings out what looks like a relatively small, actually, for her, it's really tiny, item that she brings out resting on the palm of her hand. And let's see if I can get a page for this, or a picture for this. Let's see. Okay.
I so want to know what it is. I'm really like shaking. What is she bringing out now? A bomb.
It's a beholder.
Yay!
Tiny hand grenade. Like a really tiny hand grenade. And she's like, catch!
The holy hand grenade. Okay. Here it is. She brings
truth
out
pill.
this, which I will be able to show on stream again. Move that and add that.
My gosh, I have to know what it is.
Come on!
There we go. Okay. She brings out this on the palm of her hand, what looks like
What?
a small coin of some kind. It's a small coin, and it has what looks like a golden goose or duck or bird or something like that, which is on the top of it. And I will actually allow... let's see. I will allow... okay, I will allow Celsig to make for me, please, a lore check. You can do this at advantage.
Law? Which one's that?
Hey, what's up, Colonel Wolf? What's up, man?
Bruno!
There is no more lore in 5th edition.
There is no more lore at all.
I don't have a law skill now.
Oh, sorry. I beg your pardon. Lore was from my campaign that I just got done with before.
Ah.
Sorry. History. I beg your pardon.
History, okay.
Yes. That said, I don't know why you wouldn't know anything about the game, Whoopshem. Certainly you understand some of it. But anyway, hi, Chrono Wolf Live. I'm just gonna Chrono Wolf. I'm gonna be.
Advantage.
If you're on Discord, that would be great. Just so I can contact you with the info for when your part of the concert comes through. But otherwise, just through email or something like that. But I'm glad that you're here. So, okay. So you got a 19.
Finally a decent roll.
Okay.
Yes,
Yeah.
advantage.
Do you have it? I think I said at advantage, right? Did I?
Okay,
Or
I'll
did
roll
I?
again. Yep. History.
Just in case.
Sure, why not? My crit might be worse.
Okay.
I think I'll take the higher.
Celsig, you are convinced, having been in a place where many of these are outed, this is a gambling chip. There's no question about it. It's used for gambling. You've seen different icons like this before. There are a few cities that do gambling. The problem is that there's more than, as you know, there's more than one casino. Obviously Waterdeep has casinos, Neverwinter has casinos, Baldur's Gate has casinos. Lots of these places have the equivalent of gambling. But this does look, don't know that you've seen anything like this specifically, but it's definitely a gambling chip of some kind. And she says, Sarissa says as you're looking at it, when my father found the dead body of my mother, there was only one thing that was found nearby, only one clue. And it was this strange circular item. A coin, maybe, but none of us know where from. And we have been unable to find it. We are not particularly gifted at being spies. And she kind of looks ruefully at her size and like the size of the creatures around her. She says... And you also notice, by the way, as you're looking at this, all of you, that both Uther and Imrith are looking at this with some surprise, as if they've never seen this thing before that she's brought out. So, like, this is the first time she's showing it to anybody. Okay, sounds good, Chrono Wolf. Thank you, man. And she says, the people who murdered my mother might also be connected with this, what did you call it, Imrith? Abduction of my father. And she kind of looks up at Imrith, who kind of doesn't, sort of turns away. And she says, the only clue to their whereabouts are this wooden coin. If you wish, and if you do want peace among my people, then I would ask you to find where this comes from. We cannot infiltrate these places. We have not the skill and the power. We do not have the secretiveness of the dragons, let us say. But little people can deal with other little people best. And perhaps some of you might be able to find what the rest of them could not. If you made your way here, somehow got a conch of teleportation, somehow made your way to my room, it indicates that you have both wit and presumably commitment. Will you use that commitment to bring peace? Will you find my father?
That's what we're here for.
That is why we were here.
Yes.
Yeah.
I know what this
So we're
token
working
is, but
towards-
I do not know where it is from.
Well, what is it?
The tokens, much like these, are used in gambling establishments. Do giants gamble?
And Hilda says, certainly. I, for example, have often gambled on how far a beheaded head will fly if struck with enough force. And he just sort of laughs for a while and then notices everyone else is staring at him and
And yet, not the weirdest thing I've seen been bet on.
and Imrith says, Lady Sarissa, this is most obviously nonsense. They're to find something based upon the word of this little one. You're somehow supposed to believe them over some of your own kind. And Talta, the fire giant duchess, Tartha, the fire giant duchess behind you says, is it really your own kind, Imrith? I wonder. And Imrith says, bite your tongue, Tartha, or I'll sever it. And Sarissa says, you will do nothing of the sort. All of you will stand down. In particular, Imrith, you. And Imrith kind of leans back, and Sarissa looks at you again. If this were up to my father, he would already have had you put to death, so great was the rage at the loss of my mother. But I am not he. I am also a product of my mother, and her belief that the little people could make peace with our folk has never left me. I will trust you in this, but if I find that I have been deceived, know that I will track you down, and as my father would have done, I will break you in half. Now she says this like very seriously, as in like, I will lower the curtains, like just like I will break you in half, and
I believe her.
And so she does that, and Uther sort of says uncomfortably, or it sounds he's uncomfortable, Lady, this is of course your will, but are you certain that you can trust them? It is unusual, these are but strangers, and Sarissa says, I can only base things on what I feel and what I know. No other little people have ever come to us here. None others have come to us without trying to steal things or kill us first. In fact, if we had been given the opportunity, perhaps we would have found them to be deadly before we knew the details. And Imrith says, the truth is, Your Majesty, that if we had done what we should have done, neither these nor any other of the little folk would have been there to trouble us. The time is long since passed for us to move upon the small folk. And Uthar says, now I will tell you to bite your tongue. It is the Lady Sarissa's decision as to when and how we move against the little folk, if ever. It is your responsibility to remain there, and you will do so quietly. And now when you see him do that, like, he grips the trident, and the trident glows a bright blue in response. And I would say Selsig, because you're closest to Braxo. You can feel Braxo kind of take an involuntary step forward. Like, apparently you don't mess with Uther whenever anybody says anything about Sarissa. Like, apparently, if you say, like, he does not play. So, and Imrith kind of immediately recedes into silence. And so Sarissa looks back at you and says, "Well, what say you, little ones? This may be a dangerous journey. It usually is when you're involved with giants, but you look as if you're used to strange and dangerous journeys by now."
May we take this token with us to aid with the investigation?
And she nods. "Of course. And I
I'll
pray
take the
that to
token.
the Allfather that you will find some evidence to lead us further in this. I must have my father back."
I know the
Speaking-
circles where these tokens tend to live. I'll find where it came from.
Can you tell us where the body of your mother was found? Because we might have to look somewhere around that area.
And she says, "Yes, it was not actually me who first discovered it." And she looks over at the Uther to her right, and Uther sighs and says, "There was a small island off the Sword Coast. It was typically there that the Queen would visit with the small folk, because she knew that it would be relatively safe to them. When she was found dead there, and it was clear that she had been killed by small folk of some kind, Hekaton wept for days before threatening to unleash his vengeance on all of the coastal territories. I could not calm his rage, even though Hekaton was my own brother. I could not calm his rage, and so I turned to Sarissa." And he kind of looks at her and his gaze softens a little bit. "Always Hekaton could be moved by his youngest. Sarissa it was who told her father to uncover the truth before lashing out at those he encountered. Hekaton was swayed, and he set out to learn how his wife met her end. This island would have no meaning in your tongue. It is a small piece of earth, barely fit for the name. But if you wish, I will mark it upon your map. I don't know
Please do.
if she was killed there, or if her body was killed elsewhere and then brought. But that is where I discovered her."
Could you also help us with getting there? We do not have a boat.
And so Helahin says, "Of course, real giants would simply swim." And he stops. And the other ones, Sarissa sort of gives a small smile and says, "I believe there we can be of assistance to you, yes. We will be able to lead you, at least to a place that is a meditation chamber. There we can use what is necessary to bring you back to the rest of the world."
Lady Sarissa, may I have a question?
"Yes, you may."
While we've been searching for answers of what happened to King Hekaton, we came across an information that we couldn't make any sense of, but maybe you can. We were told about a strange giant ship crossing the waters. Was this one of yours?
"A strange giant ship." And she sort of thinks for a bit. I know of no such thing. Do you know what this thing looked like? What it was called?
Do we have something in our notes, people?
Yes, we
If
do
I rem-
technically.
We know
It's
of
called
it,
the
but
Yeah, a ship
This-
called the Dancing Wave had gone missing, and there was a rumor in that ship's disappearance of there being a giant boat involved in this.
we didn't have much else beyond that.
Yeah, because now that she said meditation chamber, I was like, why are we not taking the giant boat?
And she says, "I am not familiar with this giant boat to which you refer. We do use such vessels, of course, but not ones that wander without leave. And I imagine they are all accounted for, are they not? And she looks over to Uther, and Uther nods and says, "It is more than I can know. I have not before heard of any large vessels, but we, of course, are one of the few seafaring races of giants, and there are many who wander the Sea of Swords and elsewhere besides simply ourselves. It is possible that others have this large boat that you mentioned."
So it could be another race of giants that have this capability as well.
And she says, "Since the breaking of the ordning, it is possible. But you should know that although I do not believe that the small folk are all by definition evil and not to be trusted, it is true that some are deceitful, and humans could certainly build enormous boats just like giants could."
I appreciate that. Personally, I believe the same about giants. You are not all evil. You're not all wanting to squash us. You're not all wanting to kill us. There is good in your people. There is emotion to Sarista, kindness and compassion. And that's why we're on this quest, to find that.
Sarissa says, "There is something else. If you go on this journey, be aware that I do much to allow you to leave here with this token." And she nods to the golden goose thing that you've got, Selsig. And she says, "My sisters do not agree with my course of action since I have taken control. They blame me for the fall of the ordning. The truth is that if things do not change..." She stops and then says, "There may be stronger levels of disagreement." Uther says, "So long as I draw breath, you are the one true queen of our people. My brother said it himself. You were his chosen one." And Sarissa shrugs and says, "Perhaps, but my sisters are older. They believe they have their own will and their own right to rule. If it comes out that you have been sent with this token out to the world to investigate what has happened to my father, it could break the remaining authority that I have. Thus, I cannot help you any further when you leave here. Only when you return can I fully recognize and reveal the level of the plan. Until then, you must go as our unacknowledged agents. Do you understand what I mean?"
I think so. I look over to Salty because I'm pretty sure he's more into this kind of thing, which might have to do something with dishonesty.
If anybody asks, you've never heard of us. Got it.
"And if anything happens to you, I will deny ever having met you. I am sad to do this. It is not our way. But it is what the times call for, I am afraid." And Imrith sort of, kind of grumbles, "Foolishness."
We will go, and we will most likely again risk our life in this quest. But you, Sarissa, might also want to be careful. I'm not sure you're as safe here as you were after this. And I stare at Imrith.
And Imrith sort of looks, takes your gaze haughtily, and then says, "Must I take any more of this insolence, Sarissa?" And Sarissa,
I wink at Imrith.
And Sarissa looks over and says, "No, but I will expect to discuss things with you when these people have left. And I expect when I do, you will have some answers for me, Imrith." And so she stands, and the minute she stands, Uther stands. The others in the room are there, obviously, and they sort of take a step back. And Sarissa walks down the throne. You note that she walks with a certain amount of both grace and also confidence. For all of her doubt and concern, she seems fully assured in what it is that she is doing. And she brings you back through the rooms all the way back to back to reality. Not back there. Back here. And she brings you up to this little teleportation glyph that you popped in on. And she says, "It is the conch of teleportation that brought you here. We can do a spell here that will reverse the procedure and send you to anywhere you wish to go upon the Sword Coast to begin your search. When you wish to return, you already know how to activate it. But I should warn you, this is a most valuable item. If others discover it and know of what it does, they may well do what they can, even kill you to get the item back. Never before has one of my people's artifacts been used like this by the small people, so I would ask you to work and move carefully." She says, and by the way, I should say, forget all of those. In fact, I'm going to get rid of them. You are not here, not here, not here, and not here. It's just the one giant is here, the one storm giant, Sarissa. And Sarissa says, "I would also ask you to move with some haste. Every day that goes by is another day that my father's authority wanes, and more demands upon my authority are placed. I will do what I must, but so long as this continues, I do not know how long I can hold out against those who do not wish this path with the little people to be pursued. And I don't know how long I can hold out against my sisters either. You hold the fate of much of the Sword Coast in your hands, little ones. Not simply your own people, but mine. Tell me that I have placed my trust truly."
Yes.
We will see this done.
We will finish what we have started.
And she nods and says, "Very well. Then I wish you the speed of the giants of the clouds. May you find yourself at your destination and at the truth faster than anyone could expect." Okay, now before she sends you on your way, that leads us a chance to think about where it is you want to go. And I'm going to pull up this map to do exactly that.
Just before we do that,
Uh-huh.
can I ask her something?
Sure.
Can I say, now that we're alone, Lady Sarissa, can I ask you an honest question?
You may.
There is still the matter of the words of the Oracle of the All-Father. We have risked many things, including our lives, to bring this message to you. That we asked the Oracle of the All-Father what has happened to Hecaton, because that is our quest, to find your father. And we were told that Hecaton has been misled by his daughters, who has been misled by Imrith. And it does not sit well with me that both your sisters and Imrith are still free to potentially poison your mind against both the little folk and also subvert your power.
Even if I was convinced that what you said was wholly true, my actions here would be somewhat limited. I cannot move against my sisters, not at the moment. There are not enough of my people that would support the action, and even with my uncle's support, there is very little that I could do to challenge both of them openly. Neither can either of them challenge me, even together. There are too many who still believe in the ancestral power of my father and what he has left behind. But the more that information comes out, the more that people believe that my father may truly be gone forever, perhaps even dead, the less control we will exert. And eventually all giants will be at war with each other, and eventually with you. As for Imrith's role, she has been like a mother to me since my own mother died. Often prickly and difficult to deal with, and yet I always thought she had my interests at heart. What you have said has shaken me, and I must have some time to ascertain what that means. I promise you that I will do what I can to investigate this, and in the meantime I will protect myself as best as possible. Even Imrith, I think, if she were what you said, would have some difficulty challenging me here within our fortress. And if she is not what you said, and the others mean ill to us, well, and she kind of picks up her mast, her main mast maul, basically, and just like, on the floor. And she says, I will fight for what is right and necessary as my people have deemed it. But I will not allow myself to be killed by thieves in the night. I will do what I can to watch Imrith and to explore and investigate more based on what you have told me. I cannot move, though, either against her or my sisters without more information. That is why speed is of the essence now. You must find my father. Bring him back, and all of this can be put to right. Even if you find... She stops, and then... proof of his ending. That, too, would be of value in asserting my own authority. But I cannot function on rumor and doubt. It will be up to you to find the information that is needed, and hopefully my father himself. The best way to protect me and you is to find him.
I understand that. I look quite solemnly at her and say, I know this sounds strange, but please keep an eye on your sisters. I do not believe there is pure malice in their heart, but there is something there. Whether or not they have been misled, or whether that misleading was in them all along, please keep an eye on them, and please stay safe. Imrith is not what she seems.
There are those who will believe a lie because it says what they want to believe is true.
Just in case we do not make it back, I would like to tell you what the Oracle told us, just so you have all we know. We asked the Oracle what do we need to do to fix the ordning, and it told us to find a magic conch, visit Hekaton's court, and root out the evil therein. We also asked who has the Ring of Winter, which was a magical item that is a long story. And we were told by the Oracle the Evil One has the ring. So if you see the Ring of Winter somewhere, that might be a hint. And
She kind of blinks because you're as if you were like, if you happen to see Excalibur, that might give you a clue. Like she's like, well,
Wasn't one of the things about the Ring of Winter that is like impossible to detect or see?
oh gosh darn it!
It can be, but the giants, though, are drawn to it like moths to a flame. I mean, they definitely know the name, the Ring of Winter, for sure. Like, you could tell she has immediate recognition.
Okay, that's good. Wonderful. And our other question was what happened to Hekaton, and we were told Hekaton was misled by his daughters, who were misled by Imrith. And we have no reason to believe that the Oracle did not tell us true.
And she shakes her head. If it is true that my father has been kidnapped, she kind of shakes her head and says, you must know that my father ruled the storm giants and was the leader of the ordning for countless of your years, because his strength was beyond any that any giant has ever seen. For him to be capable of being kidnapped is beyond belief and understanding. Whatever has the power to do this to my father... She sort of trails off. Just take good care.
Okay.
And she reverses the conch, bids you step onto the circle. And as she begins to blow backwards, the conch begins to blow and the glyph begins to fade. Brighten as the room around you begins to fade. Which leads me to the question of, where do you folks want to go? Because apparently this teleportation has the ability to send you anywhere. You could go up to the Endless Ice Sea, you could go to Greenest, you could go to anywhere in between.
Quick question. Circle on the map, is that where the Maelstrom is, or where the island that Hecaton's wife was found is?
That is where the Maelstrom is. The island in question was one of these, like, tiny ones down here. It might have been like this. He does, actually, if he marks it on your map, then it would be one of, the one on the map would be, hold on a second, let me find the one. Yeah, the one on the map is a little one that's not even this one, but it's like, there's like a little one nearby, basically, like a little small, tiny thing that's just nearby.
Where are you drawing?
Near Neverwinter.
Yeah, let me.
Near Neverwinter. Thank you. I'm on the wrong part of the map.
Yeah, let me draw that here.
I mean, if we can have a quick huddle to discuss where we go, I would make the argument Neverwinter then, on the logic that we are looking for a casino as our lead. Neverwinter is the nearest.
Neverwinter or Waterdeep.
Yeah,
right, I was going to say it is a little bit south of Neverwinter. I mean, like, and it also, you know, Tribor, Yartar, like any of these places could be in line theoretically, but.
Yeah, but
smaller towns less likely to have a major casino that produces their own chips.
Mm-hmm.
Also, we might be stranded on that island, that tiny island, if we land there and there's just nothing.
I hadn't thought of that.
You
That's
just
a very
land on
good
this
point.
sand dune. You're just like, all right, well.
Oh, bugger.
Plus,
So,
if we go to a major city, we can restock.
Yes.
I'll be stranded. I have breathe underwater. We'll be fine.
And greater invisibility.
Yeah, exactly.
We might even be able to charter a boat if we feel the need to investigate the island directly.
Yep.
Exactly, right?
That is
Exactly.
an outstanding.
Was that the queen? What was her name? Neris died.
I'm sorry. What did you say? Where or?
How long ago?
When?
It's been a year since she died.
Oh yeah, that.
And by the way, it was about maybe. It's been a few months since Hecaton's disappearance and the Ordning fell apart. So yeah.
Wait, I nudged Greta a second. Hang on a minute. Didn't you just say you learned a powerful healing spell? You're a cleric, aren't you?
I didn't say I learned a powerful healing spell. I feel like I have a new hatred for undead.
Oh, right. I thought you said you had like a powerful healing spell. I didn't know if you could like resurrect people, because you brought me back from the dead more times than I care to count.
I can resurrect people within a certain time limit, and a year is too late.
Please say you're not
Is
thinking
it?
of resurrecting Hecaton's wife.
So I
It
was
is
about to
far
say
too
that
late.
I do want to point out that there are spells that can bring someone back who's been gone that long. That is possible. But
I
not a
know
fourth
that-
level
Possible
revivify.
within our party.
I know that these spells exist that can bring back people who have been gone that long, but I am not capable of them.
So, out of character a second, are we talking like resurrection or wish?
Resurrection, not wish. You could resurrect.
Resurrection,
someone,
not wish.
Right. I mean, well, I mean,
Okay,
you
cool.
could also.
I cannot.
I mean, you could do wish, sure, but like.
Yeah.
Wish is like the automatic get out of jail free card, but.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Well, maybe that's something. Maybe we could look out for that.
If
I have no quantifiable knowledge of how rare magic is. I just assume everyone can just like bend time.
these services are usually very, very expensive.
Just shrug.
Well, we were gonna open a casino, so all we have to do is open our casino and then make some money and then resurrect the queen. Problem
Open the
solved.
casino.
But first,
We
we need
rip
to
off the
investigate
casino.
some casinos.
Zach, it's the biggest of all side
Yes.
quests, though.
So we can fulfill two
Absolutely.
objectives here. We'll find out
Yeah.
who made this token, and I'll get important research for my own casino.
Yeah. And you'll win us enough money to buy a resurrection spell to bring back Hecaton's wife.
Let's not be too hasty.
Yeah, so let's also, if we do not hurry, we might need more than one resurrection spell, so let's get going.
Yeah, that's true.
So Neverwinter it is.
Neverwinter?
As
Sounds like it's Neverwinter.
as the room is fading out, and as you're leaving Maelstrom behind, all of you notice as you're watching that someone has come down the stairs and is standing along with a couple of guards, which seem to be Sarissa's guards. But standing next to Sarissa's guards, you see Imrith, and Imrith is glaring at you with a fierce and hateful snarl of hate.
I wave at Imrith.
And that is where we are going to close the session for today. So, we made it, people. You made it in and out of Maelstrom alive. Now you just have to find a gambling house as the lead. You're now tracking down.
Time to shine.
It's time to track down a murderer / kidnapper thing. Apparently.
I seriously like how we went from go to the fire giant's fortress and steal the valuable conch to survive the maelstrom to. And now a casino.
Yeah.
Well, yes.
This is now the filler episode. We're now going to have like a montage of us going around a casino and like Rush getting
3
drunk
hours of
and
Celsic gambling.
Yeah,
River
exactly.
just eating the buffet.
You win, lose. You critical fail. God, come on.
Yeah.
But anyway, yes. But you're making progress. You're making advancements here. There's a lot of twists and turns to this, quite a bit. But this was awesome. I call it peak D&D. Exactly, Flayos. You got it. You got it, my friend. I will start.
And shopping trip.
I will start as per usual on the bottom of the column. Although first I want to say thank you to those who have contributed so far. We're up to 251694 out of 3,000, and in about 15 minutes we will have the concert portion of the evening. But before I go on to that, I do want to thank the amazing players for an awesome session today, and I'll start with Tasty Chai. Chai, was a lot of fun watching River go through her paces here. I was enjoying this sort of going down, looking underneath the portcullis, and then getting a chance to sort of talk to dragons and be like, here's the thing about dragons. Like, I'm not one, so I can tell you. It was pretty funny. How did you feel about stuff today? Where will the lovely folks see you next?
As always, it was a great session. I loved it to death. And thank you again to everyone who donated. Y'all are lovely. So thank you.
Yep.
Yeah, I had a lot of fun. It's just so funny how I feel like I went into this not really knowing who River was, and at each session I'm kind of getting to know her more, which is a lot of fun for me. And I hope it's fun for you guys too.
100%, it really is.
As for when you guys will see me next, I will absolutely definitely be back on GOG's channel with this lovely group of people next month. I don't know when I will be streaming. If you guys want to, you're welcome to go to my Twitch channel. There's a link to my Discord, and that's when you guys will find out when I'm going live, because it's pretty sporadic due to baby. But hopefully I will get a real schedule someday soon.
That will be a good day, and I am excited to see you back in the streaming saddle when baby allows. But I'm glad that she's doing so well, and it's good to see you healthy as well. And so thanks, Chai, as always, and we will see you, of course, here next month. Thank you for giving up part of your weekend for this. I appreciate it. Moving right up the line, Mike, again, same thing. It was a pleasure to have you back in the saddle of this, and always a pleasure to have you playing with us. I also really was enjoying it was funny how everyone kind of paired off with one of the giants at that point, where you're just kind of like, he's like, all right, come on, hit me, do that. He's like, all right,
hit me.
So I appreciated that quite a bit, and Urash having to figure out how do we kind of navigate the sort of diplomatic side of things was interesting also. How'd you feel about today? Where will the lovely folks see you next?
I, as always, just absolutely adored today. This was a great session. Obviously, best session, best game, best people, best place on the internet, to be honest with you. The fact that people have also donated to this fantastic cause, absolutely, chef's kiss. So, I love you all. You are all just absolutely wonderful human beings. If you want to find out more about myself, there's a lot of stuff going on in the background right now, but not a lot of stuff going on in the front end. However, we do have some more training content coming up. I'm currently doing a course for LinkedIn Learning, shameless plug, that's due to be recorded in the first week of June and due to be released in July. So if you're a techie or anything like that, check out my Twitter channel. It's Peripheral Mike, and then you'll get all the updates on that. I'm also, as another very quick shameless plug, over the next coming weeks, I've been doing this for a few weeks now, over the next coming weeks, if you follow me on LinkedIn, I'll post links on Twitter, etc. I'm actually giving all of my courses away on LinkedIn Learning because of COVID-19, etc. It's going to be really useless for people to pay like £40 or $60 for a subscription or anything like that. So you can gift them to all of your followers for a week. So all of the courses I've created, I'm just periodically just giving them away week by week. So make sure, if you are interested in that sort of stuff, then just make sure you follow me, and I'll spread links all over the internet.
Awesome. Thank you, Mike. Always a pleasure, and that is good to hear. And I look forward to seeing you on this again next month. And again, thank you for giving up a part of your Saturday. Thank you to Darksaber2K as well for giving up a part of his Saturday for these shenanigans. You also had a bunch of eventful stuff going on, Celsig, even though there was a kind of an epic fail in convincing the bribe guy. I do think it's funny that was the one that didn't work, that everybody's just kind of like, no, I'm just interested in the shiny stuff. And you're like, yeah, but I too would, but you really, I mean, had a lot of other, really good and important moments, including there's going to be a lot associated. When I saw that this was related to the gambling thing, I'm like, nice. Like, we can tie this right back into the casino work, and like, it just becomes an awesome episode of some casino reality series. So I can't wait for that. How did you feel about today, World with Lovely Folks? See you next.
As always, it's been an absolute blast to play. I do love getting together with everybody. We always have a good time. It's nice that everything's sort of dialed down a bit after how intense Fire Mountain was.
Yes, that's true.
And we got to have a bit more like trying to negotiate and discuss, even though Celsig is terrible at that. I mean, that's one of the things I would say is like Celsig, statistically, charisma is his worst stat. But he doesn't care. He thinks he's charismatic, he thinks he can talk his way out of anything, but he can't.
Right.
That's where the funny comes from, I think, with him.
Yeah.
So it's like literally like the guy who is obsessed with loot and shiny stuff failed to persuade someone.
Right, and I love the fact
stuff.
that every time, the fact that it didn't work doesn't dissuade you from trying again. You're just like, oh well, listen, next time I got it. Like shooters shoot, right? Like
exactly.
Negotiators negotiate.
And yeah, exactly. So it's like you spin the wheel, you take the results, and then you do it again. And now we're going to. Now I am forced, to my absolute despair, to comb every casino in the land to find the source of these assassins and abductors. And so yeah, I'm absolutely gutted about that.
Exactly.
Yeah. But yeah, it's always fun. It's been great to be back here where it all began at ArvCon all those years ago.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So, yeah, and again, for a great cause. Thank you everyone again who's donated. And I'll be back on GOG tomorrow. I'm doing the release stream for Observation, which is an interesting sort of psychological thriller set in a space station around Saturn, where you play the space station AI. And it looks very, very interesting, where you're sort of, there's puzzles and things you have to do, but you're observing events that are going on around the station. So I'm very fascinated to see how that plays out.
Very cool.
And I'll be back on my channel on Monday, where I'm going pretty heavy on Crusader Kings 2 again at the moment.
Very, very cool. Yeah, I've lurked in a couple of those streams, and those have been a lot of fun. So that's awesome. I look forward to. I won't be able to stop by that because we've got more ArvCon tomorrow, but I will try to check out the VOD later because I'll be interested. That sounds like a cool pitch for that game. So, but thank you, Saber. Always a pleasure. We will see you next month as part of this as well. And last but certainly not least, Pyron, I'm so sorry that it's like absurdly, ungodly late, but thank you for sticking with it nonetheless. And yeah, Greta also had a chance to kind of. It was interesting that Broxel, the stone giant, was the first one to react based upon you talking about the Oracle. So there was a kind of a higher level connection of, doing things that are the right things to do, and sort of being able to navigate that on that basis. So it was interesting to see you work that through. How did you feel about today? Where will the lovely folks see you next?
I absolutely love today's sessions, and I'm happy to be part of this. I'm still a bit miffed that Imrith is so good at this giant disguise thing after Kalismana told us he cannot possibly help us because the dragon is just too obvious. Like, we need to talk about this when we're
Well,
back.
you figured it out.
Proper guy.
Yeah, you figured it out.
And so, when I didn't stream on my own channel, so if you want to follow me, the most you can follow me is on my Twitter, but I would love to for people to follow the GOG Twitch channel. And you'll see me there next. I occasionally stream there, but I'm always there for the next D&D session, which we have there monthly. So if you want to know how this continues, tune in there.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Pyron. And hell yeah, Dankatron. Let's go Steelers whenever we have football again. But thank you so much again to the amazing D&D with GOG crew. It was always a delight to DM for you folks. I'm excited to do so again next month. And yeah, I'm really excited at how this adventure is going. So thank you, folks. And thank you again for giving up a part of your weekends and like ungodly hours, Pyron, in your case. But thank you to everybody for doing that and being willing to help support what has been an amazing cause that keeps moving forward, keeps moving up. So Chat, can we get some love for our players? Thank you so much to Pyron. Thank you so much to Darksaber. Thank you so much to Mike. And thank you so much to Tasty Chai. Folks, I will see all of you next month. Bye for now. Okay. So, good stuff. Man, that was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed that campaign a lot. I'm just very fortunate in that I like all my campaigns for different reasons, because they're all